Just welcome you guys out here to season 15 of Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. It's great to see new and familiar faces. I hope everybody had a great winter and a good off season. For us, I'd say it was a little bit.
How did I get started in all this? I think I've been a car enthusiast all my life. Really loved cars before I could even drive. All my friends around me were all getting into cars and kind of the early days of the import scene. You know, they were one of the first to lower cars like the Civic and the CRX, and everybody went street racing, and that was kind of the scene I grew up around, and I really fell in love with it all. So we started Slipstream Global Marketing, which was our marketing agency. Long story short, through that we fell upon drifting. It was through various companies that we worked with, and they introduced us to the sport. They said that there was an opportunity that the drifting series in Japan, D1, wanted to stage a kind of an exhibition match here and that we could bid for it. So we went for it. We went and we bid and we proposed to them, look, let us be your marketers and your event producers here. They gave us the opportunity, and in August of 2003, we staged the first ever D1 Grand Prix event outside of Japan here at Irwindale Speedway, back in 2003. From there, fortunately and unfortunately, D1 didn't want to work with us. They weren't sure what their commitment was to the US or the fans here. They know they wanted to come back, but they didn't know when or how many times or what the longer term plan was. So we said to them, look, we want to work together. We want to maybe help you create a D1 USA series. So how can we work together to do that? They came back and said no. So by default, we said, well, then if you're not going to work together with us, then we're going to go create something on our own. And that gave birth to Formula Drift.
Jim Lau is igniting the passion of the next generation. Jim's Formula Drift racing series has taken competitive motorsports to a new extreme, attracting fans and car enthusiasts from all walks of life.
As I mentioned, I think Formula Drift, as much as we like to give credit that, hey, we were some geniuses that came up with this concept to create a drifting series, we were as much fortunate that we were rejected by the organizers of D1 and were forced essentially to create something of our own. But I think obviously in long term, in hindsight, looking back, of course, that was a blessing in disguise. We created the series pretty quickly. When the D1 guys said no, that was like September of '03. And we put our plans together and launched and announced it at the SEMA show, Formula Drift, by November of 2003. So this was what, almost 3 months, 2.5 months later that we were able to put all this together. We were super fortunate because I think in our past dealings and our past relationships, we were able to put together venues like Irwindale Speedway and Sears Point and Road Atlanta, and put all these pieces in place to be able to launch that 4-round series by May of 2004. And we're fortunate enough to have sponsors like EA Games and at that time Circuit City to be able to step up and contribute and be a part of the series. So we were rolling with venues, we were rolling with sponsors, and really all we needed were teams to commit and fans to show up. What has Formula Drift taught me? I mean, I think the years in running the series has definitely taught me a lot. I think a few things that stand out are patience. I think patience is a huge lesson that I've learned in all this, because there are times where, for myself, even personally, I get very antsy about seeing what competitors are doing, and maybe not direct competitors, but other sports and other motorsports, what they're doing, and how can we move and evolve and adapt, and and kind of second guessing myself and ourselves on the decision that we made. But to have patience, to let it run its course, to be able to stick firm and be confident in what we're doing, and allowing that to kind of run itself through. And we've seen that. We've seen competitors come and go, and we've outlasted many of them. We outlasted most of them, and that I think we're still here and we're thriving, and they're not. Shows that I think we've made right decisions that are both progressive but also conservative, and a very balanced approach that we're able to last 15 years and we're still moving forward. I think having patience for that, and having patience to be able to just kind of, be confident in what we're doing, and also confidence, having confidence and decisiveness in the decisions that we make. Yes, there's always hard decisions to make. Sometimes we just have to kind of say, hey, look, this is the direction we want to go. We have to stick to our guns and believe that we know what we're doing, and that we are making decisions that are good for the entirety of the sport, not just good for our business, but for everyone around us. I just want to say to all the fans, thank you for all those rabid, diehard fans that travel to multiple events, that watch online through late hours, that have been with us, and some of you since day one. I just want to say thank you. And really, it tugs at me, because we've always approached this from a fan-first perspective, that we in this office are enthusiasts of drifting, are enthusiasts of car culture, and that we approach every event like we would going to somebody else's event, and that we want to try and create something that you will enjoy, that you will love, and that you will come back again and again. And so for those of you that have grown with us, that have come on board to follow the series, I just want to say thank you.
Welcome to the House of Drift, the iconic track that is Irwindale Speedway, playing host to the final round. We deem this the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, presented by Rainick. Round 8 of 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Here with you once again, I'm Jared Deanna, and joining me once again is Ryan Sage. Ryan, this iconic track, we're back here again, and truth be told, last year when we ended it, we didn't think we were going to be here again.
Last year when we left these seats, we were saying goodbye to this track pretty much forever. It was going to become part of what you see in the background over there, a flattened oasis for somebody to come and build something on. That never transpired. A miracle happened, and new owners came in and were able to resurrect this thing and give us a 3-year deal here. So we're going to be here for the next 3 years, and thankful to that, we get to close out the 15th season of the Formula Drift Championship, where it all started. Yeah,
where it all started. And this is basically your Talladega, your Indy, your Monaco, whatever analogy you want to use from a motorsports world. But so many champions have been crowned, and we're going to crown another one tomorrow night in Pro, but also Pro 2 this evening. But it all begins with qualifying. We saw Pro 2 qualifying yesterday, but today it is about Pro qualifying. Ryan, let's backtrack to Texas, where a championship starting to form, but it is not completely solidified because kind of some winds of change in Texas.
Yeah, Frederick Oswald had a real opportunity to take James Dean out in the Final Four. He was not able to do that. James was able to move on into the finals. He lost that battle against Peter Visek, but he was able to go out of that event with the 49-point lead. So Frederick Oswald has his work cut out for him, but it's very plausible that he could do it. It's really going to come down to whether or not James Dean gets knocked out of competition earlier than Osbo, and how far down the line Osbo gets. With 49 points, he probably needs to finish 3 positions ahead.
Yeah.
So that's an out in the top 16, and Osbo making it to the Final Four or the final, something along those lines. We'll get into the specifics of the math, but we do have a championship coming down to the wire.
All right, so the Norwegian Hammer could be kryptonite, but also Peter Visek. He won here last year, so he's got a lot of momentum from Texas, and also he knows his track. He feels confident, and truth be told, in practice, he's looking strong. So we talk about those 3 leaders. Again, Peter Visek would need a miracle to happen in order to get that championship overall. But speaking of the championship, let's look at the standings. James Dean is out front, as we talked about. He could go back-to-back championships, like similar to that to Tanner Faust, Frederick Osbo. He's going for his second. You can see the math there. Peter Visick, 87. Chris Forsberg, 177. So no way is he getting, but he'd like to get in that top 3. Justin Pollock, 184 outside. Matt Field, Ryan Turk, Christos Blush, who's not here, notably the Latvian driver, Odi Bakshis, and another champion rounding out the top 10, Daijiro Yoshihara. Ryan, I'm going to step out. We're going to bring another Ryan. That's Ryan Lontaine. He's going to elaborate on what the judges are looking for.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lantain, also serving as the third member of our commentary team up here in the booth. Now, Ryan, obviously we've got qualifying going on today, but for fans that are coming to the sport for the first time, let's give them a little breakdown of what qualifying entails.
Sure. Today, qualifying will consist of 2 non-consecutive runs from each driver. They're going to receive a score on each run, and they're going to keep that higher score of the 2. Then 32 drivers will move on to head-to-head competition for tomorrow, and any ties that we have will be broken according to the lower qualifying score.
Now let's go ahead and bring up the overall map and give us a breakdown of what you are looking for from each judge's perspective, maybe where the points are allocated and what some of the things that the fans should look out for.
Looking at this map, we have a combination of everything that we'll be looking at today. We have outside zone 1 all the way around there. We break that up into 2 for qualifying, so it's worth 5 points for each one of those areas. So that whole outside zone 1 is actually worth 10 points. Inside clip 1, outside zone 2, inside clip 2, and outside zone 3 all worth 5 points each for a total of 30 points for line and angle. Now the red marks you see on the map there are the decel zones, and the decel zones are where we expect a driver to slow down. So that is mainly for the lead driver to adhere to. The chase driver then knows where to expect that lead driver to slow down, make any kind of corrections of pace or momentum so that the chase driver can stay close in tandem. In qualifying, we want them to adhere to this as well to set the bar for tandem competition.
So we've looked at line and angle. The style judge is really looking at in between those clips and zones, but what exactly is he looking for?
So the style judge is looking for commitment and fluidity. Commitment deals with the forward momentum of the vehicle, how well they're using their momentum to fill all the zones on the track to get out to the edge of the track. Fluidity deals with the rotation of the car on its own axis. How smooth is the car rotating between angle in one direction to angle in the other? How accurate is it? Are they trying to adjust the angle once they attain angle? Maybe they put in too much and they have to take some out, or they have to put in not enough and then they correct that. So we want the cars to rotate to an amount of angle that is adequate for the corner, but to maintain it all the way through.
Now, finally, you guys have the option to give a driver an incomplete if he's done just too much for it to be a scored run. Let's talk about some of those for qualifying.
The 3 that we have written down are spinning out, drifting in the opposite direction. One should be anywhere on the course. Hood, hatch, trunk, doors, anything latchable opening on the track. A big straighten would also be an incomplete. Anything that shows that the driver has lost control entirely and isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing out there on the track.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan. We'll be checking in with you from time to time. This is it. Ready, set, go to qualifying. The O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight presented by Rain-X at round 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Up next, qualifying.
Had an warming up his tires, Ryan Littoral in this vehicle, and Ryan Littoral not too far, 350Z through the start chicane. Our first qualifying driver of Irwindale, the House of Drift. See Ryan Littoral initiating pretty low on the bank there. Would like to see him a lot higher. Transitions, flirting with the edge of the course, now into that lower bank and inner bank. Very shallow, not getting all the way out there. Again, looks like he will be receiving a score. Ooh, almost straightens out right there, approaching that finish line. Again, a well-prepared car, just not enough as far as the setup and what they're looking for, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan Littoral, definitely a big star of Texas right here. Gets a really late initiation. Certainly that's going to play a big factor. We'll see the judges how they want to standardize that and whether or not that's going to be an incomplete, but that was way past the last standing initiation point. You got to wonder what's going on there, because he was really outstanding in Texas and looked really strong. And you can see the car seems to be struggling a little bit there, and then he unwinds it before the finish line. So not a great start there for Ryan Littoral. And hopefully he'll be able to get back and run number 2 and show us what he showed us in Texas, which was really great stuff.
All right, so yeah, so speaking of the judges, I said I spoke too soon there, and you brought up a great point, the point of no return and the point of initiation. So gonna just wrap out with Lontaine. We saw an incomplete run there. Your reasoning behind that?
He did not initiate, Jared. He drove straight for about a third of the bank and could not get the car to angle. So failure to initiate, and then a major straight for a large portion of the track. So an incomplete for Ryan Littoral. All
right, thank you so much. So yeah, like I said, Sage brought that up, the point of no return. So that is an incomplete run there for Ryan Lontaine. Next up, Taylor Hull. This Comp Cams Achilles tire, Cadillac ATS-V. This is a freshman season for this vehicle. Not Taylor Hull, a very accomplished driver, piloted a S chassis, but this Comp Cams Cadillac has been getting better and better. And Taylor Hull transitions now into that second outer bank, and woo, look at Taylor Hull. Quickly gets that inner bank. Man, pucker effect is on and cracking. Taylor Hull, look at this. Like I said, every round from a no-show to Long Beach to just having some issues to now he had you hyped here, Ryan.
Well, that has got to feel really good, especially from what you mentioned, Jared, having a tough season at certain parts, trying to put together this new program with that beautiful car, and comes out swinging here, mid-high line on the bank. You can see nice fluid motion, stays pretty much on throttle through that first inside clip. Big risk here, and he does have a tiny bit of understeer, but you have to give him credit for really going at that wall. We've seen over the years literally maybe 10, 20, 30 cars go into that wall between practice and in competition, and they usually don't come back to it. Very well suited. Here's on board right here the drone that we have flying, and you can see just down below how it is able to capture what it would be like driving right behind Taylor Hull. And a really cool shot there, so nice job by Taylor Hull in run number 1.
All right, so Taylor Hull awaits his score. Our second driver. We are live at the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight presented by Rain-X, round 8 of 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship, and 83, and that is not Taylor Hull. So Kevin Lawrence looks oddly Taylor Hull and Kevin look almost identical. 83 and 83 for Taylor Hull. All right, next up, Austin Meeks, this Galp committed service brand, Achilles tire, S14.5. Coming to us from South Carolina, him and his family operating basically a zoo at their house. They have a bunch of animals and trained animals for movies and stuff. So I've yet to visit it. I haven't gotten the official invite from the Meeks family, but would love to see that. I know I talked to his mom, but right now, look at this. He's showing up. He's saying, hey, Ma, check this out. Good job, good line, very comparable to that of Taylor Hull. Let's see if he can throw down a line like Taylor Hull did on this. Oh, big, massive angle there from Meeks. See if he maintains that speed, because when you throw that much angle at it, it could check you up. Does pull him off the wall a little bit, comes off it a little early. But Austin Meeks, again, another driver that that hasn't had the best of luck, but when he is on, it's on. So let's look at it again here, Ryan.
Yeah, and Meeks has really had some standout moments during the course of the season as well. One thing that we did notice from him in Jersey was he was really able to keep up with the faster cars, and I think that gave him a couple one more time opportunities. You can see here, coming through that first inside clip, he's a little bit outside, takes it on the inside here, trying to get deep as he can into that wall, pushing hard through this final corner right on that inside hash mark, and a pretty good job there on that last outside zone for Austin Meeks. Now he is a rookie as well, and he's got a bunch of guys in front of him: Van Kirk, Stratton, Taguchi, and Federico Sharifo. So it is a bit of a battle. I think the difference between him and Van Kirk is just about 80 points, maybe 75 points, doing the math there. So certainly possible for him to make that up and make some ground in the Rookie of the Year competition.
And Austin Meeks scores in a 76. A 76 for Austin Meeks. And yeah, kind of utilizing our drone pilot here. We saw him shoot for the latest debut of the GoPro Hero 7. Shot out at St. Louis and got some amazing shots there. As now Farouk Kawai pulls up to the line. That Reckless Racing 2JZ Power BMW. He's on Nexen tires. Let's see what Farouk's got. Hadouken. He is a Faroukin. Farouk really smooth here. Again, another driver that debuted this vehicle similar to that of Taylor Hull and has just progressed throughout the season. And Farouk transitions. Like to see him get, that right to angle there. Oh, and man, just backs the thing in. I know his BMW backup sensors are going off for sure. You can see it hits it once and twice, 3 times maybe. But Farouk pulls across the line. And man, I'm surprised he kept that angle in it.
Yeah, and one thing that we can say about Farouk is that the perseverance has really just been a big thing for him in making these incremental improvements every single event. You can see it paying off here in the way that he approaches this first outside zone. Doesn't get fully deep there, but he's really committed here. Big angle on that third hash mark. Coming in here, he got a little bit close there. He kept angling the front wheels. He taps it again. He stays in it. So he's going to get a few deductions for that, but you can see the aggressiveness overall and the confidence that he has in his driving building run by run as he makes his way to the final event of the season.
All right, so waiting for Farouk's score, Farouk Kawai, and the Reckless Racing E92. And a 73 for Farouk. And taking a look at the drivers list, we were to have 32 drivers, but right now, actually, Christos Belush from Latvia is not present, so 31 drivers. So as it stands right now, the #1, if everybody gets a score, the #1 qualifier will be receiving a by-run fast pass into the top 16.
That definitely makes things interesting for the Dean and Osmos of the world,
yeah.
right?
Oh, for sure. All right, so next up, Dean Carney. Dean Carney going with that turbo setup, and him and his team have been working very hard on this vehicle. He's ready to send it. This Oracle Light and Achilles tire, Dodge Viper, just tenacious, just a very passionate driver. He's been drifting all over the world this year, and just been campaigning a lot of different vehicles, and just a lot of different, I don't know, just driving. He's just out there having fun. So, and right now he's putting on a show. Well done there, Dean Carnage Carney. Transitions now. You can hear that lift, but just lets it glide right on in into that second bank, that outer zone, using all of the course. Nice job there from Dean Carnage Carney. All right, Ryan, here we look at the United States Air Force replay.
Yeah, and you know, Dean, I believe he did have that DNF in last round, and so coming out here and putting on a good show, high expectations, and he is delivering way high up on the bank. Great angle. You can see consistent throttle control. The smoke line is very complete coming through that first inside clip. Right here, mid-line to the wall on the inside bank, wrapping around this corner here, nice and tight. And perfect on that last outside zone. That is a solid run from Dean Carney. You get this onboard shot here with the GoPro Hero 7. You get to see the perspective if you were driving right behind him and what that would be like.
So talking about Dean Carnage and what the judges are looking for. We see as they approach that finish line, you could see that the K-wall, the barrier is actually away from the yellow line, and the judges said that where the yellow line is, that's the edge of the course. So imagine if there was that wall there, or if there was dirt on the opposite side of that yellow line, that would be a dirt drop. So they just want them to ride that yellow line. As the scores are coming in, that's an 89 for Dean Carney. Well done. And that's great redemption for him. Like you said, a DNF, that's not the way, you want to come out of a round. And I know him and his team were working hard on it. They just couldn't, they're having transmission issues, I believe, in Texas, if I could recall. So now the Oracle Line and Achilles Tire Dodge Viper with an 89 takes the #1 spot. Federico Sharifo in this Ferrari Fioretta as comes through the bank. Rides high on the bank, and now past that front clip. Very smooth for him. Into that second outer bank. The Triple F Racing Department, nice job from Federico Sharifo, using all the course. He got out to that yellow line. Again, you got that box there at the end. The very unique V12 supercharged Ferrari.
Well, and he may have had the most viewed video at the beginning of the season that will definitely last into the ages with that fire episode in Long Beach. And he really persevered and came back and was able to put the vehicle together and manage to make the rest of the rounds here. And as you can see, he's fighting on this inside bank to come through with a good qualifying run in run #1. You can just see how much he has been able to do to the vehicle over the course of the season, managing that program in a really challenging overall position with that car, and a very expensive car to crash. And Federico has been really fun to have part of the series this year.
Yeah, Federico Sharifo, talking with him yesterday, just in passing. Look at that, man. That's if you're chasing him with a car like that, you're definitely going to be in the back end of that Ferrari. But Federico said, he knows he could probably bring more, real quick, a 79 for Federico. He knows he can bring, let's call it what it is, a more competitive car and able to win. But he's developing this thing, single-handedly, just developing parts as they break or bettering. I mean, just the evolution of this car. It's just, he's having a lot of fun doing it. It's unique, like you said, the fire, it's kind of any news is good news, and that was an unfortunate turn of events, but it was definitely sensational.
Yeah, that was definitely something else. A nice way to kick off the season.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. All right, so next up, Kyle the Menace Mohan, a longtime Formula Drift veteran. He came in the final season, or the final, I think, if I'm not mistaken, talking to the Mohan team, he came in Irwindale, the first season, 2004. So just shy of being a 15-year veteran. The American Ethanol, Top One Oil, Mazda Tricks, built to Apex MX-5. The lone rotary in competition, you can see him initiate and straighten out. Now throws it back out there. We'll see if the judges consider that a correction. And that will be, even before the run is over. This is a good opportunity for him to work the rest of the course, but the judges are deeming this an incomplete run. So unfortunately, right out of the gate.
Well, that is unfortunate for Kyle Mohan. During practice, he was laying down some insane runs, and one of the things that is very noticeable about the car is you can hear it so well, and Kyle has a tendency to just go full throttle on this course, and he was putting down some really solid runs in practice. So unfortunately had that understeer up on the bank and did give himself an incomplete, so he'll have one more shot at it here. But Kyle Mohan, a local driver from Long Beach, is going to have to push it to run #2.
Kyle Mohan, there it is, with an incomplete run. He will have to better it. And just going through the order, Kevin Lawrence from Orlando, Florida, Juku Racing, BC Racing, has 14.3. He has basically foregone his first run. And talking with a spotter, he was saying that his head lifted on his last practice run, and that's not something you wanted. So Kevin Lawrence will leave it into his second run in order to get a score. Want to give back to you, MagnaFlow. Win a free MagnaFlow exhaust. Text MF Drift to 555-888. Again, a MagnaFlow exhaust. Why not feel the flow? MagnaFlow. Win a free MagnaFlow exhaust. Text MF, as in MagnaFlow Drift, to 555-888. Kazuya Taguchi, this Achilles Tire Up Garage Top 1 Oil GTR. Taguchi clean through the start. Another vehicle that has gotten better and better with Kazuya Taguchi. A Formula Drift rookie, going for that Rookie of the Year. Decently high on the bank. Not a lot of angle there coming in that first front clip, but now he finds all the angle. See him working the wheel inside the cockpit. Comes off the wall. Really tight to that front clip for Taguchi-san.
Well, Taguchi has a real opportunity here, Jared. He is very close in that Rookie of the Year competition. He currently is just about 34 points behind Matt Van Kirk, who's in the lead, and you can see he is starting off pretty strong here. A nice wall ride there, just a little bit lower than he probably should have been, but had maybe a bit more angle through inside clip number 1. Want to maintain momentum there as he manages to get on that inside bank, kind of a midline. So overall, a pretty decent start here for run number 1, and is able to get onto that final outside zone. Showing some favor there. Here he is on the inside bank from the GoPro Hero 7 cam. Johnny PV locking it down here. And there you go.
'86 and '86 there for Kazuya Taguchi. You could see how his points roll out there. So it takes a strong score there.
It takes a chain.
An 86. Next up, seeing the Supra of Rad Dan Burkett. Rad Industries, Nexon Tires, Toyota Supra. Operates out of here, Southern California. And here we go. Dan Burkett quickly gets the speed, initiate, past the point of no return. Rolling into some more angles, some great Nexon Tire smoke kicking off. That's not a criteria, but it's an indication. Some good wheel speed and getting it going. Snap, crackle, pop into that second outer zone. As you mentioned, Johnny PV riding shotgun. Getting up close and personal as Dan Burkett gets close to that front clip. Well executed run from Dan Burkett. Can he top that 89 of Dean Carney, who's currently our #1 qualifier?
Well, let's take a look here. Blasting down that back straight, initiates right at the Cometic sign. That was the last standing marker. High line on the bank by Dan. Comes off just right at the edge of that zone. Comes down a little bit low, has to work his way back up onto that second hash mark, but is still able to get into that outside zone. Get back on the throttle after the decel area. Stay pretty close to the wall. Now he starts moving off of the bank into that inside hash mark, right on that inside clip, and then finishes up strong on that outside zone. So Dan, pretty impressive there.
Yeah, that looked solid. Just another driver, you know, throughout the season, both this season and last year. If you can recall back to Long Beach last year to now where he's at, he's just developed by leaps and bounds, and it's just great to see all these drivers just develop and just, you know, with the vehicles gain more confidence with the tracks and everything. So it's great to see just the level of drifting over not only the last year, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 years. It's crazy, right? I mean, just what we've seen at these hollowed grounds, it's pretty impressive.
Many memories. I saw some.
Any good memories you can recall?
Yeah, like when you and I were wearing Echo gear doing the show open.
Oh yeah, dog. Wearing that Echo Unlimited gear, that was good. Yeah, that was fire. Wicked hot fire, dog.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just when we used to operate down out of a tower trackside.
Yeah, we used to have judging down there. Used to have spotters down there.
Yep.
We had the lights, the DJ. Remember all that?
Oh man, gosh, that was crazy. Man, all the crazy things we've seen. So I want to give back to you in another way. Drifts Wheels. Win a set of wheels. Tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FDDRIFZ. Enter to win a free set of Drifts Wheels as run by the 723 vehicle of Odi Bakshish. That Falcon Tires Max Oil Field Suspension. And all right, I'm going to go on a limb and say it's an 84. An 84 there for Dan Burkett.
It's 84, right?
All right, so 84. All right, so an 84 there for the Toyota Supra of Dan Burkett. Next up, the Drift Vet. That is Dirk Stratton. Dirk Stratton. The 33, the Lingenfelter Fortune Auto. Achilles Tire Corvette C6. The Drift Vet. Dirk Stratton said he put a lot of time into his vehicle in between Texas and here. He says he thinks he worked out all the gremlins. Feeling confident, feeling strong. The Stratton family, mom, dad. Lacey, his chick, Nick Swan, spotted for him. You see him working the wheel, the red gloves sticking out. Brings it in to about the second hash mark. That's a solid qualifying run. I don't think it's going to be the top of the heat, but still should definitely hold his head high. One to grow on, right?
Well, he is only 15 points behind Matt Van Kirk in the Rookie of the Year, so that is definitely something to watch for. See where those guys line up in competition. Stratton known for being a very aggressive driver, and you can see right here he's doing just that. Lots of throttle coming into this second outside zone. Very close there. A little bit of wavering out front and a few mistakes coming from the big bank into inside clip number 1. Just off throttle there in an acceleration area or a maintaining momentum area. And as you get a shot on board, you can actually see the wheels when they are spinning at full RPMs versus when being off throttle. You see that punctuation in the smoke line. It gives you a good idea of where drivers are on and off throttle. But for Stratton, that was a good start overall for him. And let's see where he lines up in the top 32.
All right, so yeah, they are right next to each other. You're talking about that Rookie of the Year at 86. So a strong score there for Dirk Stratton, an 86 on his first run. Next up is Matt Van Kirk. He debuted a new sponsorship, Linda Coin. It's a new sponsor and basically cryptocurrency, similar to that of Bitcoin. And they have a lot of, again, they have their own wallet. Check out Linda Coin, Closet Creations, S13. He's on Achilles tires. As you said, Ryan, these guys are fighting for Rookie of the Year. Sopa sends it on the start line. You can see our Fast Orange Pro qualifying leaderboard. Carney still leading the pack with an 89. Van Kirk about mid, gets himself a little higher there towards the end. Good angle past the first front clip, the inside clip, now transitioning into that second outer zone. That Linda Coin Closet Creations S13 got a 2J under the hood and really just gets all the way out there on that final clip.
And during qualifying gives you a really good opportunity to just keep an eye on where the throttle is being used by these drivers. The judges really only want to see or expect a decel on initiation and then right about here. And you can see right there he is off throttle in that area. And where you see smoke coming up, you know that they're continuing to keep the throttle on and keeping momentum moving forward. So for Van Kirk, finishing it up here. Pretty solid run for him. Could have been a little bit higher on the bank, but down below, much better job there, maintaining consistent throttle control through that last inside clip and then pushing out wide here and finishing up strong.
There's murmurs, or I've talked with Van Kirk. He's ideally like to develop a new car, maybe bring a new car out to FD. A 75 there for Van Kirk. So looking forward to the 2019 season for Van Kirk. Again, going for that Rookie of the Year. Can he finish on top? 15 points separate him and Dirk Stratton. Moving right along, we're now into the top 20 drivers. Currently sitting 19th coming into this round of competition. They're Jadot Metaldom from DR Dominican Republic. The next entire Toyota Racing Toyota 86 of Jonathan Castro. Start chicane, goes Castro. Initiates strongly, shredding that back bumper there. You can see it already breaking loose. through a tail back there, shreds it off. Don't need no stinking bumpers. As now in that second outer zone. Stuck it to the wall for a moment, then pulls off, but Castro loops it after the finish line. Ryan, what say you?
Well, he came through that finish line in the right order, and so he will get a score on the board. Castro has been such a joy to have in the series and representing for the Dominican Republic and doing so much to bring more eyes to this sport. You can see he gets a good start on that bank. Great job, nice and high. Takes that risky line down on the inner bank, stays pretty close here, stays on throttle, leaving that outside zone, now shooting in the inside clip right on that second hash mark, and great angle through the finish line, getting to that outside zone. So for Castro, a nice start overall, and you get to see a great perspective here chasing him. You can see exactly where he is relative to that outside zone. Nice and tight on that inside clip, and then pushing out super wide there, filling that final outside zone.
So Casual Friday here as an 87 there for the Toyota 86. All right, so an 87 there for Jonathan Castro. Next up, Jeff Jones, that Doc Falcon Tires Nissan 370Z. A relentless driver that has definitely progressed throughout the year, and debuting this 370Z, taking that V8 out of his previous S chassis, strapping that Edelbrock supercharger on top of it, and he is just seeming to have a lot of fun, him and Kyle Mohan teaming up this year, and smiles all around for Jones and Mohan and their team. All right, looks like we got thumbs up from our starter, Matt Sopa. He says, send it, get on out there, buddy. Jeff Jones sending it into the bank, initiates at the correct time. That first banner on the wall. Grease lightning, nice job. Really flying past the front clip into that second outer zone. He's had a lot of experience with this track and a variety of different cars over the years. And there goes Jones. Again, this Z has really proven to be a very comfortable chassis for him on its freshman year.
Yeah, and absolutely, Jeff Jones has been a massive standout for me watching him this year, not only competitively and how he's done there, but also just the attention that he's brought to his program and doing all the right things in being a professional drifter. You can see right here in the competition side, gets a great job on the bank. Had a little bit less angle than he probably needed to on that transition. Could have maximized that area a little bit better, but midline there through that outside zone. Great job on that final inside clip, and then pushes out wide there. And Jeff Jones full of confidence in his driving there, and you can see it will certainly pay off for a really good score.
84 and 84 for Jeff Jones. Did you see one of the Ninja Turtles was riding shotgun with him? I don't know if you saw that. There's a cameo there. I don't know if it's Michelangelo, but I think he's a party dude, right? Michelangelo, he's a party dude, right? Okay. I got confirmation from the judges. Michelangelo is a party dude. Put him in a Kaufman, Matt Kaufman. Excellent, here we go, the 959 of Matteo Kaufman. Do it for Dale. Nice job, Kaufman. You saw him working his way mid to high. Oh, buddy. Oh, man, that did not pay off in dividends, unfortunately, on that transition, Ryan. Looks like he checked up. He is just going for it right now. Again, another driver seems like he just threw a brick on the pedal and just hammered down and steering this rocket ship. Unfortunately, he was quite a bit out of shape throughout the track.
Well, you know, he started off on that midline, and then he kind of moved down, and you can see those yellow markers. So he's real down on that bank, and then he came off in a weird place. He's going to put a lot of angle into the car. He realizes he's heading towards that wall. He kind of has to pull some angle out, grips up a little bit, then comes down low again. So this is definitely not the Kaufman-esque run that we're used to seeing.
Right.
Fully committed and hitting all of his marks, so he'll have another chance to take a look at it, and we'll see how that score comes in overall for Matt Kaufman here in run one.
I believe he will receive a score, but where he lands or where this puts him, we're about to find out. A 72 for Matt Kaufman. So he had some, again, some moments of greatness, but an opportunity to clean it up here on his second run. World War Kaufman. Next up, Michael Essa, running a new sponsor on the side of his vehicle, driftline.com, a full source resource for all things drifting. I was just shown this website yesterday, and it's everything from technicians to classifieds for vehicles, also events. So check it out, driftline.com, really cool resource to check out. He's piloting that Essa Autosports Achilles tire BMW, the former champ. I know he exploded his quick change last night, so they changed it out. They had the parts, and right now looks like he is dropped the change, and he is quick out there on the track. Michael Essa transitions. He's very familiar with the course. He's been to Irwindale numerous times, and right now gets really intimate with the wall. Yeah, as Ryan said, hello, pretty lady.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, literally nothing wrong with that. Nice initiation. He's immediately on throttle. Notice this, he's high on the bank from the get-go. This may be the best bank run compared to Dean's, and possibly better than we've seen. Full throttle all the way through. Very little punctuation in the smoke line. Gets into this outside zone, fills it deeply, and then just stays on throttle. I mean, this is a perfect example of what the judges are looking for, and I certainly expect this to be our #1 qualifier at this current moment. Just by the level of driving there, I did not notice any mistakes, and from what the judges were saying in the drivers' meeting, that seemed pretty consistent to a top-level run.
Yeah, can that top an 89? Dean Carney has an 89. Like I said, there was minimal 93. There you go. So Michael Essa, and again, it was just clean. It was just really smooth. It wasn't like the bang, whiz bang. It just put the car in all the right places. That's a technician. That's just kind of the scientist dissecting the track, and just knowing Michael Essa, he's got that 93 in his back pocket. I'm sure he's going to strive to hold on to that #1 spot. And truth be told, we're looking at the drivers list. Alex Hilbrun, from the Team IMR, the Lima, Peru driver, he is not here. So top 2 qualifiers will be receiving buy runs. You know who wants to get that? Alec Honadale. This Rain X livery debuted here. This is the actual livery that is featured in Forza Motorsports, the video game. And Alec Honadale in his supercharged V8 Honadale Huddy Racing S14. Look at that, boom, the Super Duke. These guys know that. Look at there's that back bumper. Honadale loves shredding bumpers. I think he eats bumpers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Alec Honadale, again, in that Rain X, this livery run. You can actually play this livery in the Forza Horizon game.
Yeah, very cool. And you can see Alec here, very aggressive driver. Young guy coming up in the sport, doing a great job overall in this program. Mid-line on the bank there, full throttle through this inside clip. Now, he gets a weird line here as he comes off the bank, and he has to force himself to come back up. And you can see he taps the wall there, has to make a little bit of an adjustment. And you can see how important it is to set your line early on so that you can hit all the marks without having to make too many adjustments from one marker to the next. Here it is down on the bank as he got in there, tried to push out towards the wall. He tapped it for a second. Now he's back in that zone. And wrapping through that final inside clip through the finish line is Alec Honadale.
All right, so Honadale, this Rain X S14 awaits a score, and an 86 for Alec Honadale puts him currently into #4 qualifying position. So solid job there for Honadale. And just by comparison, looking at Michael Essa's run, just how clean, how tight it was. Honadale, a little more, let's call it what it is, volatile, just as far as transition and what's going on there. And as you said, Ryan, kind of making that mistake on that transition into that second outer zone. So another former champ, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Monster Energy, Nitto Tire, Ford Performance Mustang, RTR Spec 5D. Shout out to Abby Gittin. They're expecting their first child. Late November, early December. VG3 is his running name right now, as VG2 goes for it at the iconic Irwindale Speedway. 15 years Vaughn has been competing here at Irwindale Speedway. He has a lot of memories here as Vaughn, captain clutch kick into that second outer zone. Riding the wall, trying to shred that back Ford Performance bumper off. Ryan, I mean, not too shabby. RTR ready to rock.
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing wrong with that compared to Essa's was Essa was a bit deeper in outside zone 1, but getting his full throttle through the course only lets off in the sections where the decel is expected. So you can go a little bit higher there, but still a really good job on the bank. See, full throttle through here. Now watch, decel, back on right there, and then deep into that zone, stays in it, staying full throttle all the way through, locking up the fronts there, and then through this inside clip. I mean, it does not get better than that, right on the edge of that line. Massive improvement overall for Vaughn Gittin Jr. here in this run number 1, or excuse me, excellent job in run number 1 for Vaughn Gittin Jr. as we get to take this shot on board once again. You get to see that perspective of what it's like to be right up next to these pro drifters.
Loving it. Loving it. Johnny PV, is that his name, you said? Yeah, it's his Instagram handle, Johnny PV. FPV, thank you very much. 92, so just shy of the number 1 spot. Vaughn Gittin Jr. with a 92, just bettered by 1 point of Michael Essa, but you know he's going to go for it. And you know he's got to feel confident with that. Again, both him and Chelsea, the 2 Mustang RTRs, you know, really executing flawlessly down in the second half of it. But as far as the bank, they're trying to get up there, and that showed that they have the vehicle and can do it. So can they get the number 1 spot or the number 2 spot? Like I said, the top 2 qualifiers, if everybody gets a score that showed up, which are 30 drivers right now, the top 2 drivers will have a buy run. So who wants buy run? The Vaptasia Energy Innovations. Achilles tire S15. Look at Forrest Wang, very smooth and fluid like butter. Just what we've come to expect from that of Wang. Looks like he comes off the wall a little early, sets himself up, tight to the front clip. Again, just very smooth, very poetic, but on that second outer zone, looked like he missed the mark there, kind of got thrown off a little bit.
Yeah, definitely some standout moments for Forrest. Let's take a look at how he did on the bank. Great initiation, gets back on throttle. He's on a high line, but then he kind of moves down, then moves back up a little bit. So could have done a little bit better job on the bank. Nice transition here, very smooth, tight on that first inside clip. Gets into the outside zone nice and early, but looks like he may have touched the wall there and then came off and went out of that zone and then had to move back in. So definitely receive a few point deductions there. But you can see Forrest is foot to the floor all the way through. This is where it looks like he just comes off the wall a little bit here and is not able to fill that zone completely, then moves back up into that zone. So that'll be the mistakes that I'll have to take a look at for run number 2.
Forrest Wang with an 83 for Forrest Wang. All right, so just to confirm, Dirk Stratton's score was an 81 as opposed to an 86. It was so again, an 81 for Dirk Stratton. Right now, this is Chelsea Denofa. Chelsea Denofa and his BC Racing Nitto tires, Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. That's what we're talking about. Talking about the bank. It looks like Chelsea having a little bit of difficulty there, working his way up the bank compared to the other Mustang of Vaughn Gittin Jr. But there he works it out fairly well, using all of the course, almost getting into that wall there as Chelsea Denofa pulls across.
Well, Denofa is definitely going to use this run as a motivational factor for him. He has been phenomenal this year and broke the internet a couple times on a few different occasions, both in competition and outside competition. You can see he does not have the best bank run there. He transitions pretty quickly and stays on the throttle, but just losing a few points overall by not staying in the zones or not getting deep into the zones through the entirety of that particular section. So Denofa, very aggressive run, but it's not going to be the one that he wants to place him into the top 32.
Chelsea Denofa, the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. It's a hot day out here in the streets of Irwindale. Local temperature 85, 86, and talking with some of the drivers, when the temperatures drop like last night, you know, we had pro practice after qualifying at 86, and 86 for Denofa. So Denofa with an 86. Also, previously we were to have Ken Gucci drive, and he actually called his competition timeout. So, unfortunately for the Goosh, one of those FD veterans that we had some words with in the videos. If you haven't seen those, they're really cool. Get some insight from these day one drifters, including that of Daijiro Yoshihara. But Ken Gucci called his comp timeout, so the 5-minute has started. But right now it's Dai Yoshihara, who's currently sitting 10th coming into this round. Turn 14 distribution, Falcon tire, turbo V8 Subaru BRZ. Dai Yoshihara, look at that. As far as placement of the vehicle, after initiation, puts it in the right place. Now in that second outer zone, making all sorts of crazy noises out there on track. And brings it across there, Dai Yoshihara.
Something weird maybe went on with the initiation here. It looks like he had a little bit of a commitment issue there. Trying to get it to angle. It was very, very minimal, so I think maybe it's a points deduction, but it did look like almost like a small double initiation, and then there before that inside clip. Outside of that, this is a great run for Dai. Very committed to this inner bank. And yeah, you said that the car makes those incredible sounds. He's a little bit wide on that last inside clip. The sounds are very Dai-esque, just quiet, but swings a big stick. So,
and you know what? He doesn't have a commitment problem. He's married. He has 2 kids.
Yes.
Doesn't have a commitment problem.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, a couple little things for the judges to take a look at there. We'll see how they dock those what look to be very minuscule mistakes, but still nonetheless noticeable, at least from our perspective here. And there it is.
85 and 85 for the FD vet. Slide or Daijiro Yoshihara in 85.
And Jared, you mentioned that Ken Gucci has his competition timeout, and that I believe that time is still running, but that is unfortunate for him, even if he does make it to the line, because that would be the last one that he could use for the weekend.
Yeah, strategy. I don't. You know, you have to think. Why would you use it? Just forego that first run and then lean on your second. That's, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, tough call. The team's got to make a call there, and they know mostly what's going on with the vehicle and can make that estimation. But nonetheless, he will have that competition timeout taken away.
Essa still leads the pack with the 93. Von Gittin Jr. with the 92. Carney, Castro, Honadell, and right now, Odi Bakshis. Falcon Tires, Max Oil, Drifts, Wheels, S14. Again, just the way Odie has been driving lately, it just seems he's just a different Odie. He's kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when it comes to Odie. There's Adamus and there's Odie. Dr. Adamus and Mr. Odie. Shreds that back bumper. Not too much you can shake a stick out here, Ryan. I mean, just an exciting driver. Really likes his initiation on the bank.
Well, yeah, and we should note that he did go hard into the wall last night in open practice. Right. The team was working on the vehicle through the night, and even into this morning, they were doing the alignment right out front. And Odie comes out, even with all that, lays down this pretty solid run here. Blazing fast. He was right on that second hash mark on that inside clip. A little bit of touch there. The front wheels wobble a little bit, maybe a deduction or two there on that section of the course, but you can see they were able to get the car back in working order, and we get to see the typical Odi Bakshis, which is a very aggressive driver that is one of the best chase drivers out there, but has become one of the better qualifying drivers that we've seen this year so far as well.
That supercharged V8 S14.5. A 90, a 9-0 for Odi Bakshis, and it's got to breathe a little sigh of relief after last night, as you said, working into the car into today. So Dr. Odamus and Mr. Odie. So two different kind of personalities behind the wheel of that vehicle. So next up, coming into this round, sitting 8th, was to be Christos Blush. I read on social media, he says, unfortunately, you know, they wanted to finish top 3 this year. They really wanted to be top 3. Coming out of Texas, where they had engine issues, they had to borrow a car from George K. Did not get the results that they wanted. They said, you know what, we're just going to hang it up. So Christos Blush, the Latvian driver, says, no, not going to do Irwindale.
Yeah, and it's, you know, sometimes you have to make that calculation. You know, do I put a bunch of money into the car even though I'm not going to be in the top 3? What's the best thing for me to do? And so you can't fault him for that, but I think we should note that Kristaps did have a phenomenal season, and let's remember that he was the victor of an event this year in Atlanta, and was the best driver of that event, hands down. And so he's got a lot to build off for 2019.
A great addition to the FD family. So coming from, you know, just 3 years ago, that HGK Eurofighter, to now this FD veteran, Ken Gushi, Gretty Performance, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. And Ken Gushi looks like that competition timeout has favored him right now. The White Ghost comes into that second outer zone and looks very clean. So the 2JZ Power Toyota 86, second hash mark, works all the course. The Boost Brigade captain, Ken Gushi.
So yeah, it looks like the competition timeout paid off there. This will be a scored run, and probably a pretty high scored run. Gushi right here winding up, getting that smoke line generated pretty high on the bank here, maintaining throttle coming down off the bank through that inside clip right on the second hash mark. Now gets right into the zone early, stays in it. He's pretty deep here. You can see the car looks really settled. He fills that zone pretty well. He's on that second and third hash mark on that inside clip, and then finishes nice and wide there. So Ken Gushi and the team taking that calculated approach, using that competition timeout. It looks like they will log a good score here in run number 1.
Drum roll, please, for Ken Gushi. So Ken Gushi comes into this round sitting 12th. A 9-0, that's a 90 for Ken Gushi. A 90 for Kenshiro Gushi. All right, next up, another Toyota racing vehicle, the Gum Out Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nexen tires. This is Ryan Turk, star of him and Chris Forsberg in the Blackout videos, if you haven't seen them. Got their car builds, they're building some cool, sweet rides. And this, another 2JZ Power Toyota 86, Ryan Turk. The floral yellow stripe and mirrors, courtesy of Race Service. Transition now into that front clip. Ryan, listen to that exhaust note. You hear a little bit of crackling there, a quick little lift, but then back on throttle in that outer zone. Could see him a little deeper there on that outer zone, but man, he is on it. Absolutely just ticked all the boxes, Ryan.
Yeah, that was a great run from Ryan Turk here in run number 1. Right into that Cometic sign, he gets it going. He's on throttle here, it's building up. Nice and high on the bank, a little bit of an adjustment there to put more angle in the car, gets the butt of the vehicle right next to that wall. And then right there, first hash mark on that inside clip. Big angle here and very deep into that zone. Stays in it all the way through, and then perfect on that inside clip. We are seeing some quality runs here from these drivers, and Ryan Turk giving a perfect example of that here at Irwindale Speedway.
He touched the butt. For any dads out there, we'll get that joke. That's a total dad joke. Ryan's giving me an acting out. 96, a 96 for Ryan Turk. Currently, your Black Magic top qualifier, but there's still plenty of drivers, including our top 6 drivers: Field, Pollock, Forsberg, Visick, Osbo, and Dean. But Ryan Turk currently sits number 1 with only 4 points left out. You can see a couple in style, couple in line, but angle, perfect. Look at that perfect angle score there for Ryan Turk. So serious. Look at this.
The angle was very apparent on the inner bank for sure, no doubt. Slow clap.
Spitting hot fire. Slow clap? Is that like John Hughes' film, Slow Clap? Like, attaboy, Turk. That's what's up. That's how you do it. Oh, man. Some great driving going down. You can see that. Gushi and Bakshi's tied with 90s. Vaughn Gittin Jr. up in the mix. Look at that. Yeah. Well done. All right, here we go. Matt Field just debuting his new video with the Heatwave guys, this Wish Falcon Tires Corvette. Gosh, I love this thing. Probably one of my favorite cars on the grid. It just looked great when it started the season in Long Beach, and it has taken a licking but keeps on ticking. The Vortex Supercharger winding it up into that second outer zone. The Beast from the Bay just barely nicks that Black Magic clip, but Ryan, again, we're getting into our top 6 drivers with Matt Field just outside of that top 5.
Well, that run was pretty emblematic of Matt Field's season. It's one of those runs where it really couldn't have gotten any better. I mean, for a debut vehicle to come out and be this competitive, get that podium in St. Louis and battle up there and be in talks with the championship. He looks great here. And coming off the bank, he had that little tiny adjustment. And there's another one as he gets into that outside zone. But overall for Field, this is a pretty solid start here. He can build off this one. It's still going to be a high score overall as he didn't really miss too many marks. You can see down here on the inside bank, coming through that final inside flip, nice and tight there. And Field starting off strong here in qualifying run number 1.
Yeah, Matt Field debuting a new video called Supervision with his sunglass sponsor called Heatwave. An 89 for Matt Field. A strong score for Matt Field. So an 89 there for the teal and blue Wish Falcon Tires Vortec Borla exhaust Corvette. I saw a Drift Cave there. You know, if you follow him on Instagram, he's like collecting Supras now, or Supras. What I'm talking about, Corvettes. He's like the parallel of Dan Burkett. Dan collects Supras. Matt Field's collecting Corvettes.
He's like the American Daigo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, kind of too.
Yeah, you think?
Collecting cars, you know?
Yeah,
It's of the same genre.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Talking about collecting cars. He has his own shop called Hotline, but he's in this Roush Performance Falcon Tires. Lucas L, man, that thing was, you see, it's like he couldn't get a hold of it. It is very loose. It's got a lot of torque and a lot of horsepower, this Ford Mustang of JTP, Justin Pollock. Yeah, something ain't right. Yeah, either an axle or, yeah, it looks like the tires are on.
It looked weird coming down the front straight, like he felt something wrong in the vehicle. And then you could, if you watch the smoke line on the big bank when we take a look at it, it's not the standard smoke line that you would see from a driver full throttle. So as he was coming down off the bank, obviously he was not able to finish the run, but that looks like it's going to be a mechanical for Justin. Let's see if we can see any further details here. Watch as he goes right there.
Look at that back left. It's not blowing smoke. Yeah, one wheeler peeler.
Yep.
All right, so that'll be an incomplete, unfortunately, for Pollock. So there it is, unfortunately for JTP. That'll be an incomplete run. So right now, Kevin Lawrence and Justin Pollock, as well as Mohan, have incomplete runs. Next up, the NOS Energy Drink, 370Z on Nexen Tires. Chris the Force Forsberg, here in Southern California, originally from Doylestown, PA, one of the FD vets from day one. Forsberg turns it on, his VQ power 370Z. He's been having some bad luck this week, but it looks like it seems to be working out so far right now. This twin turbo VQ setup fires into that second outer zone. Past that final front clip and gets out to that outer zone. So Ryan, talking about memories, I remember when Forsberg piloted the he was driving for Falcon back in the day when his car caught fire, the S15. That was pretty sensational.
Yeah, 2005 against Reese Millen, he won that event. Yeah. If you get a chance to watch Chris's FD XV video, it's going to be released today. It actually got released about an hour ago, so it's up. And Chris here starting off pretty strong in his qualifying run. Get into this inner bank here, trying to stay into that zone as long as he can. Nice angle, smooth run around that inside clip, and then finishing up just right there at the edge of that outside zone. So we'll see how the judges log that score for run number 1.
Forsberg definitely going to be leaving some points on the course on initiation and the bank. But it's good to see the cars up and running with an 83. An 83 there for Forsberg. Does get him into the show for tomorrow, but going to need to step it up given the caliber of runs we have seen previously. All right, next up, we are now into top 3. This driver on his freshman year last year, the Candyman, Peter Visek. The Polish flag is waving. The Polish flag is waving off that antenna there. Peter Visek won here last year. Can he do it again? He is in contention of a top 3 finish. Man, you can't see the back half of that Wordhouse Falcon Tires S15. Listen to the exhaust note. Quick little lift, blip it and rip it right into that second outer zone. Approaching that final clip, and all of the course, man, gaining a lot of applause here from the fans.
Well, Turk's got the standard with the 96, and that was pretty dang good as well.
Not too shabby,
yeah,
man.
Fully committed, up on the bank, early initiation, swings right into it. Immediate smoke line. You can just see he's full throttle, stays in the zone for the entirety of the zone, on the wall, throttling through that inside clip, lifting in the right place to readjust to that outside zone, taps the wall a little bit, but gets back into it and stays and fills that entire zone, perfect on that inside clip, and then out to that outside zone. Great job by Peter Visek.
Peter Visek? I think you contractually have to say it like that too, Ryan. So every time you say Peter Visek, you have to say it like that. Yeah, just really splitting hairs here as far as that run. Does it better at 96? And it does at 98. 2 points shy, so style. What is that? Initiation? Fluidity? Fluidity, not as fluid. You're not like Bruce Lee. And then line, missing 1 point there. Who's line judge? Andy? Ryan? Lantaine? Where's the 1 point you docked him on line? Inside clip 2. Okay, all right. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, try again. Near perfect, literally. So there is our new Black Magic top qualifier. Peter Visek, remember the Black Magic top qualifier when it's some money and they get the hardware. If you haven't seen the medallion, big old gold Flavor Flav looking medallion, and they get some cash in that hand. Put that in my hand, man. Frederick Osbo, the Norwegian Hammer Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback on necks and tires. This hot hatchback will definitely get your groceries to the store and back real quick. As Toyota Racing locks up the Manufacturers Championship. Frederick Osbo challenging James Dean for the overall championship, and Osbo, man, these guys are going for it. Ryan.
Well, depending on what happens with Dean, Wisek might have taken Dean's potential spot for the bye into the top 16. Here comes Osbo. Big opportunity for him here. 49 points behind, nice and high on the bank. Stays deep into that zone. All the way through, nice transition here, stays on throttle. Into that second outside zone, piping it around the inner bank here. And now coming off into that inside clip, pushing out wide. Great job by Frederick Osbo.
Yeah, man, you could just like throw a rope to that drone there and just latch on, man. He was right there. So the Norwegian Hammer, does he rival Peter Visek with that 98? Ryan Turk with that 96, our fast orange 94. So not challenging Peter Visek for that #1 spot, but still a solid run there. Again, the top 2 qualifiers as it stands right now, actually quite a few. It'd be like the top 5 qualifiers because of some incomplete runs of Justin Pollock, Kyle Mohan, Kevin Lawrence. And then with Hilbrun and Kristaps not here. Right now, James Dean, your defending champion as well as your current points leader. 40 points separating these guys. James the Machine Dean flicks it into the bank. James Dean flirting with that wall saying, hey, how you doing? Past that front clip. James Dean now into that second outer zone. Quick little tap of the brakes. Performing surgery, get the scalpel out. Scrubbing in. lays down a line and cuts it up. The machine. Where do you want me to put car? Or it's, where do you want me to put car? That was the Irish robot.
Well, it's very clear why you can tell that he is leading the championship at this point, because he performs under pressure, and it's really been car issues that have put him in a position where he's really fighting for the championship. And his qualifying runs, his tandem matchups, they're just absolutely on point. And again, he delivers right here in his qualifying run. The first run out, Peter Visick with the 98, and Dean comes through with something that looks very similar at first pass. And how the judges are going to interpret that, we'll take a look here as we go on board with James Dean here in the GoPro Hero 7 drone cam. And James Dean, once again, look at that, just no punctuation in the smoke line, full throttle all the way through.
And countered. The front is just completely locked. That Wisefab suspension just, boom, locked and loaded, and just his eyes are on the prize. Sometimes it hurts and sometimes it helps that their vehicles look identical. And I would have to say it kind of helps, because we just saw Piotr put down a great line, and boom, look at that. These guys are like twins, Polish and Irish twins, a 98. So he ties his Wordhouse Drift Team teammate with a 98. All right, so again, it looks like, look at that, perfect on line and angle, style 19 and 19. So again, we're gonna take a short break. We'll come back for the second qualifying run here of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Title Fight presented by Rain-X. Round 8, this is the final, the title fight of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. A short break, don't go anywhere, and you'll see the second run of all our pro drivers. that little ACT commercial there. You couldn't see it on the live stream, but as a ACT commercial showing James Dean flying the Irish Cape and holding the heaviest trophy. You know, we give carbon fiber trophies out all year, but the championship trophy, it's big, it's heavy. FYI, I won. I don't know if you saw my post yesterday. I actually won the whole championship.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's a big accomplishment. A lot of effort. You know,
15 years.
Yeah, you did everything you could, and you came out on top.
I appreciate that.
Very
man.
solid. It's a good work.
I
I'm
appreciate
happy
the
for
support.
you.
I appreciate the
Great
support.
job.
You're mocking me, aren't you? Download the app if you haven't already. Live scoring, alerts and stats, exclusive FD content, breaking news alerts, get notifications, access to the complimentary live stream, ability to buy tickets, the new FD Fan Rewards program, exclusive games and contests, and special video features. Even you might receive a love note or something from Ryan Sage. I know he hand packs and writes things for all those. So you know, maybe
if you want a note, I'll give you a note.
Give you a little love note.
Yeah, for sure, no problem.
Heart RS.
Yep.
Yep.
So we are seeing that Taylor Hull is in the burnout box and now at the start line, and that is because Ryan Littoral has called a competition timeout. Now, Jared, just going back and looking at some of these scores, Littoral, let's see, Lawrence,
Mohan,
and Pollock all have incomplete. So those are 4 open positions there. But we're going to go to Hull first, who had a nice score on run number 1 in 83.
Here we go, Taylor Hull, that comp cams, Achilles tire, Cadillac ATS-V, talking to his wife. Said made her a little nervous there on that first run. Let's play it a little more safe there, buddy. And that's a little too safe there, Mr. Hull. As Taylor brings in that second outer zone. And across the finish line, Taylor Hull. In that Comp Cams Cadillac ATS-V from Sonoya, Georgia.
So he is in the competition for tomorrow, in the show. Now it's just about positioning here. 83 looking to better that on run number 2. Taylor Hull looking strong this round. Vehicle working well, it looks like. And has a little bit of a correction there on the inside bank, back on the throttle. And now wrapping around this final inside clip. Big angle here, just misses that outside zone. So we'll see if he sticks with that 83 or not. We have a 98 overall.
I have to. All right, so we are finding out that he does not better. It's a 75 for Taylor Hull. His 83 stands to be the better of the two, and I definitely would agree with that, as he was off quite a bit of that second outer zone, and like you said, Ryan, positioning where he lands, we'll find out. So Ryan Littoral, still the clock is ticking for Littoral. Like to see him get a score. Again, he's his hometown, not too far from here, Riverside, California. Wrapping out with his Coro Works team, Greg and his pops. As next up, we're to see Austin Meeks. Ryan, this track really transforms when it goes from day into night. Right now, you know, it's good, you know, but especially with Pro 2 driving on it, the drivers are saying it gets really sticky. Did you wrap out with any of the drivers or the conditions or anything?
Yeah, well, and many of the drivers, not just in Pro 2 but also in Pro, have been, you know, trying to push for the series to have more consistent practice times relative to the times when they have the main competition, so they can prepare for the track conditions. Just given how developed these vehicles are and what we're asking them to do performance-wise, and so this track in particular, yeah, it does change from night to day. You also have tracks like New Jersey where you're driving into the sun sometimes, and so the conditions over the course of an 8-hour day will certainly have an effect on how you set up your vehicle and how you approach your runs, not only in qualifying but in head-to-head.
Austin Meeks, the Galp committed service brand. Oh man, we are getting an update here from Ryan Littoral and his team. They thought they fixed it, did a burnout, it broke again. So unfortunately, Ryan Littoral will not be seeing competition tomorrow, so that is just such a bummer for that Coro Works 350Z team and Ryan Littoral. But hold his head high. I know they had just a real developmental year, but Littoral definitely has the talent. Looking forward to seeing him in 2019. But right now, it's Austin Meeks, that Galp committed service brand S14.5 on Achilles tires. Look at that, turn on the smoke machine. Mid to high, a little bit of wavering there. We'd like to see him a little more settled. Looks like he's trying to massage it up the bank. Quite a bit of distance off of that front clip. Now remember, he has a 76 on his first run. Hammering down Ryan, but he was it was fluid. It looked exciting, but he didn't hit the zones and the clips.
Yeah, Meeks here on his second run, trying to find the best positioning here in the top 32. A little bit of wavering there from the front end. Could have been a bit higher on the bank, and he misses that inside clip very noticeably. Then he has to draw this kind of a unique line going into that second outside zone, but he's still not able to fill that second outside zone completely. Finishes up there, pushing to that outside zone, and he will be done for the day. We'll see where he slots into the top 32.
All right, Austin Meeks awaits his score. Does that better, a 76? And it does not, a 70. That's a 7-0 for Austin Meeks. That is a 70 for Mr. Meeksies. Farouk Kawai, 73 on his first run, the Reckless Racing E92, originally from Poland, now living in the Bay Area. Ready to see and create Formula Drift content? Well, embrace the heat. Start the conversation. Go to formuladee.com, hover the join the community, click it and stick it. Again, start the conversation, join the community on formuladee.com. All right, here's Farouk Kawai with that 2JZ powered Reckless Racing E92. Got some RTS goodies on there, some Deutschwerks, as well as some Nexen tires on the corners. Farouk filling the cabin with some smoke. Thumbs up from him. Farouk, yeah, here we go. Faroukin. And Farouk throws it in. You see him starts out high, goes low, now goes back up high. On the bank. On that front clip, you see him transition while he approaches it. On that second outer zone. See the front wheels countered precisely, and then across the finish line. Ryan, he has a 73 on his first run. Do you consider that to be a better run, or what do you think?
Well, I think one thing that I noticed here is he kind of gets out of the gate pretty quick, and then he lets off the throttle. Now you can see him accelerating and initiating. So he wasn't fully committed to the initiation, as we've seen some other drivers. He started low, moved high. He does have a 73, so it's definitely possible to build off of that, you know, with an average run here. And he is able to get to that inside clip, does a better job on this outside zone. I think he stays in it pretty well here. Consistent line. And then through that final inside clip, he pushes out and does a great job on those last two sections of the course. So this may be an improvement there. A couple of mistakes that he can think about going into the head-to-head matchups. But let's go to Judge Ryan Lantain and hear what he has to say about this run.
Yeah, I'd like to give you an explanation as to why we gave it a 0. He did not accelerate up to initiation point. I actually thought he was not going to initiate when he was running up there because he was going so slow. If we look at this run, we need to set qualifying as an example of what we're going to be looking for in tandem, and that would not be a chaseable lead run at all. He wouldn't have given the chase driver the opportunity to build up their speed to initiation at the initiation point. So we have to give that an incomplete, as it was not committed up to the initiation point.
All right, thank you, Ryan Lantain, and our three judges, Andy Yan, Brian Eggert, and Ryan Lantain up here in the tower and race control. Dean Carnage Carney. Dean Carnage with an 89. He started things off rapidly. And can he rapidly get through this track? Good angle here. Yes, sir. Attaboy, Carnage. Dragon bumper, looks like usually he's got a big wing and he just knocks those things off for fun. Right now we saw some particulates get up in the air as Dean Carnage Carney, the Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper, across the finish line. Yes, sir. Well done, Carnage. Not living up to his nickname. Let's call him Clean. Dean Clean Carney right now.
Well, Dean is certainly on one today.
Yeah.
That's two quality runs back to back. Nice and high on the bank, fully committed from the onset, rubbing the back bumper there. Full throttle down off the bank. lifting in the right places and back on the throttle early. You can see very little punctuation in the smoke line, and the consistency in the line is really awesome here. Maybe could have been a little bit deeper, stayed in that zone a little bit longer. But these are two really good runs from Dean Carney, back to back. As we take a look, following him down onto that inside bank, you can see just how consistent he is with the line there. And then pushes off at the right time to get to that inside clip. And boom, right to that outside zone. Very impressive run from Dean.
I'm on a new level. 91, 91. So he does better at 91 there for Dean Carney. Looking like T2 over there. Don't mess with the Carney. Small hands smell like cabbage. Oh man, another driver having to retire, and that is Kevin Lawrence. So his head lifted on that RB powered Injuku Racing S14.3. So Ryan, quickly, two drivers didn't show up. That's 30 drivers. Now we're down to 28 drivers that Literal and Lawrence are unable to run. So Federico Sharifo and Fiorella. It feels fun talking like this. As now I sound like Count. Sound like Dracula. As Federico Sharifo into that second hour. Oh, buddy! And that was a hard hit. And it looks like you're gonna need that back right wheel. We need to clean up here on aisle 2. Oh man. And it looks like the wheel is rolling next to it. Looks like the spokes are still on the car.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
Look at that. So that the wheel just broke. That's again the 588 GTB. Make some noise for him, Federico Sharifo.
Well, you know, the good thing is, Jared, he does have that score. He will be into the top 32, but he's got some repairs to do, and you can kind of see that starting to build as he came through that inside clip. Let's take a look at it again, and you'll see as he comes down off the bank, gets that inside clip, and from this angle here, you can see he's just a little bit too deep into that zone. There goes the wheel, and you can see shards everywhere go on track, so we're going to have to clean that up for sure. And unfortunate for Federico, he has to end qualifying by making some repairs to the vehicle, but it will be a lesson learned here. And Irwindale takes no prisoners, and those walls do not move. So Federico having to bow out of that second run with an incomplete, but he does have a solid score in run number 1. He will be in the top 32.
Man, he is all up in there. So, you know, talking about this, the rarity of this car, and we're talking about the sensationalism of round 1 where he caught on fire. And right now, you know, 588 Ferraris parts aren't just everywhere. So that's going to be the big hiccup here. Is, as you said, his first run does allow him to go into head-to-head competition. He had on his first run a 79, but right now he's going to need to work through the night to get this car up and running for tomorrow's competition. And again, 588 parts aren't going to be everywhere. 599, thank you so much for correcting me. 599, the GT. I mean, I don't own one, so. And Ryan drives them all the time. Montaigne just whips them around like hot rod rental cars. Ryan?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, here it is from above, Jared. You could see coming off that inside clip number 1, you could tell that he was starting to go in that direction, and you have to wonder what was going through his mind once he started heading towards that wall, what he thought he could do. Fortunately, the damage sustained, it doesn't look like it's going to take him out of competition, but certainly, you know, it is a tricky vehicle to work on. But if anybody can do it, Federico can, and they will get the vehicle off, and we will make sure that all of the shards that came off of the wheel and the surrounding parts are all cleaned up, and we'll get back to competition.
All right, so that Ferrari 599, the Triple F drifting department, Federico Sharifo and Fiorella taking a hard hit here at the House of Drift. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, shout out to Austin Weiss. How we doing, Austin, out there in Florida? We're going to get Fiorella off the course, and the work begins now for Federico and his team. But some remaining drivers left here in the second run of the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight presented by Rain-X, round 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. When we come back, we'll continue with the second runs. We still have 20-plus drivers still to go on their second run here at Irwindale Speedway.
The way we started drifting was we were watching Initial D one day back then at our old house, and at the time I was into, you know, like Skylines and Supras, like high horsepower, just like one gun racing, just going 200 miles an hour, you know, super high horsepower cars, and I couldn't care any less about drifting at the time. I knew what it was about, but I didn't really care much about it. When I first started, it was just me and my dad. At first we wanted to do rallies, so we took 86 Corolla, which we coincidentally happened to have, and we took it to a dry lake bed about 2 hours north of LA. And this dry lake bed is off-road, so no one really checked for any license or anything. And at the time I was still 13, so obviously I didn't have a license. We'd just be out there for a couple hours, goofing off, sliding around corners, pretending like we knew what we were doing, but I honestly didn't know what I was doing. Just having a great time, and that's really what kept me going, was this concept of having fun. Just have fun all the time, forget about the stress, just go out there and have fun. And I still get that feeling every time I get behind the wheel. In that sense, my dad was the one person that kind of, I guess, opened the doors for me to be in this industry, in this world of drifting, competitive motorsports. So through that connection, I was given the opportunity to run Pikes Peak Hill Climb, the Long Beach Grand Prix Celebrity Pro Race. It's just all through one night of watching Initial D with my dad.
Hitting the first and second outer zone and maintaining good proximity in that last inside clip.
That ready performance SR by Toyota 86 is getting all that neon shadow that is map field. Look at that pass that front clip as the sun is setting. Wow.
Nice job by McCory. Like to see him get a little bit higher on the wall there, and look how close Ken Gucci is. Now Forsberg transitions in this last inside clip as Ken tries to attack and nearly makes contact with his door.
A Datsun B110 Sunny that he was around him, and being away from LA to Vegas for me. So in the early days of Formula Drift, I was driving as my own team, so it was Gucci Auto, which is my father's company. So that was the team that I was driving with, and our main sponsor at the time was Falcon Tires and Rotora, which was a aftermarket brake manufacturer. So we had formed a team, did about a year and a half, 2 years in Formula Drift, until Reese Millen actually approached me and said that, hey, there might be a huge opportunity for you to drive with a manufacturer, an automotive manufacturer, so a domestic manufacturer, and I think you should take it. And being the naive little kid I was like, yeah, I'll take everything. I'm so badass, like I can do it. I should be able to do it. And that manufacturer was Ford Racing. So I was the very first driver for Ford Racing in Formula Drift as a 16-year-old kid. I really had to take away something from that experience, and it was going into a whole different manufacturer after that with Sound Racing. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was just this naive little kid that didn't really know what I really wanted. Was it, like becoming a better driver, or was it just enjoying this fame, that newfound fame that I had? But yeah, I was just young and dumb. There was a point where I was, graduating high school, going into college, and when I was in college, I was already a professional driver in Formula Drift. So I knew as I graduated high school, okay, so I have two choices right now. I can take a step back from driving and go into a 4-year college and really get my education on, or I can sort of pursue my career as a professional driver while taking online classes, or like Sunday classes, the weekend classes, and cut my education time in half. And
all right, welcome back here. Again, it's a picture-perfect day as far as the weather goes. 85 degrees, sunny, clear skies. Potentially a little bit of rain tonight going into tomorrow morning. Hopefully it clears up by game time. There is the backdrop there to this Irwindale Speedway we've seen for so many years. And again, this iconic backdrop. Irwindale Event Center, Irwindale Speedway. Last year when we left these seats, we thought that would be the last time, and that was legitimate. Everybody's like, did we make this up? Are we trying to act it out? No, that was legitimate. The land was sold. The venue was basically going to be torn down and turned into, the rumors are that it was either going to be a mall, a factory outlet, or storage for trucks as the trucks are pushing their way over. But literally after the event was over, some investors got together and saved Irwindale. So, you know, just the running joke of the first to last to maybe the last time Irwindale, all those jokes, but that was seriously what happened. So it's glad. I'd much rather be here at Irwindale Speedway than we were planning to go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which wouldn't be bad, but of course, this is such an iconic track. And right now, an iconic car, the Wankels, the rotary-powered American Ethanol Top One Oil Mazda Trix MX-5 of Kyle the Menace Mohan. This is do or die for Mohan. He is currently sitting on an incomplete. That is a 0. We need him to step it up and put a run down. Looks like Mohan pounding away on the Doritos Tacos Locos. Nice job. Again, I say Doritos. People on the internet, on the memes, they call them the Doritos.
Well, that is going to get him into the show, and once again, you can definitely hear Kyle is foot to the floor all the way down. He's on that midline on the bank, so leaving a few points on the table there, but coming down off the bank into this transition inside clip 1. He's right on that second hash mark, gets back on the throttle here. Better job on outside zone 2. You can see he's above that lower line and close to the wall. Now comes off, shoots towards that inside clip. Tight there, a little bit of understeer, and really playing with fire there towards the end, but my guess is that the judges are going to give that a score. You can see he does have that understeer there right at the very end, and that would be very unfortunate if he was not able to make it into the top 32, but it is the judges' call on that interpretation.
All right, so Kyle Mohan. Kyle Mohan. He is currently sitting on an incomplete run. Casual Friday here, a lot of drifting going down throughout the weekend. We saw Pro 2 qualifying yesterday. We're seeing Pro qualifying now, Pro 2 tonight, and then Pro tomorrow evening here at the picturesque Irwindale Speedway. All the different countries being represented. And oh man, unfortunately for Kyle Mohan, he receives another incomplete run. Lontaine, putting your headset on. Lontaine, what is up?
After inside clip 2, Kyle Mohan unfortunately went into an understeer situation. The wheels were actually pointing in the opposite direction. We were worried for him for a second that he was going to go into the wall, so it was a pretty big loss of control on his part, and unfortunately we can't score it as it goes against or against the 0 rules, the incomplete rules. So that was a full straight, full incomplete, and unfortunately it was a 0 for him.
Man, so unfortunate turn of events there. So now Ryan, again, we talked about 2 vehicles not being here, that's 30 cars. And now Kevin Lawrence, Literal, and now Mohan. So that means the top 5 drivers will have bye runs. And, you know, we want to see the head-to-head battles, but you know what? The top 5 qualifiers, they're stoked. They have quick work here.
Bye run strikes again, and this time it's because drivers have not been able to get points on the board, but Taguchi, here he is up next.
Kazuya Taguchi on the track right now, past that first front clip, transitioning into that second outer zone. The Jerry Yang Racing vehicle mid-line of that outer bank. The Top One Oil up garage. Achilles Tire GTR brings it across the finish line for Taguchi-san.
So Taguchi looking to better his score from run number 1. A good score in 86. Big angle up top. Has to pull out though as he makes a little bit of contact with the wall. Now coming down off the bank. Nice fluid transition, tight on that inside clip, just nicking the bumper there. But a little bit of struggle here on this inside bank. You can see he's not really getting out as far as he should to that wall. A little bit tight on that inside clip, so left some points on the board with this inside bank here, but a nice job by Taguchi overall. He will be in competition And his 86 is his run from run number 1.
Yeah, an 86 will definitely be the better of the two. Taguchi, like you said, struggling a little bit on that second outer bank. And an 8, wow, not that far off though. I mean, that's a really comparable score. I'm kind of surprised by that 85.
I was thinking maybe you might have to back off that one, but it was 1 point, so you were right.
Yeah. Wow. Not that far off. I mean,
that's how good you are. You know.
Yeah. You're the Karnak. You can call it like you're good at that stuff, man. Obviously, we've been seeing a lot of runs over the years. All right, so Dan Burkett with an 84 on his first run. He is up next. That start chicane there. See the cones, and then boom, just a wall right in the middle. You hit that wall, you're going to be pretty bummed. All right, so there's Dan Burkett. Rad Industries, next in tires, Toyota Supra. Dan Burkett doing a bunch of online content, and his signature line is Supra every time he sees one. Fans out, still like a 12-year-old girl. You gotta love it. And oh, look at this, Dan Burkett turns on the smoke machine out back of that Supra into the front clip. You can see a little bit of off there. Whoa, buddy! Man, I got nervous there. And you saw, it looked like he was kind of preparing for the hit, but did not approach that wall. So an 84 on his first run, Ryan.
Yeah, Dan Burkett definitely laying it down this weekend, taking some risky moves, and looking good overall. Let's see what happens here on this run number 2. He starts high on the bank. Nice angle there by Burkett, and he sticks with it. Just comes off a little bit towards the end, but a great job starting high and sticking up there. He does miss that inside clip. He was outside the 3rd hash mark. This is where he got a little out of whack. He had a lot of angle in the car. He didn't have enough forward momentum to keep himself in that zone, but still, he's able to pull it off without making a big mistake. So Dan Burkett looked like he's building on run number 1 here. And as we take a look as he comes down from that inside clip into the bank here, you can see where he pulls off a little bit, but he's able to maneuver the vehicle to stay in that outside zone without pulling off and going down like we've seen some drivers do. So Burkett, good performance from him. Let's see if he can build on that 84.
And he does with an 88. An 88 on his second run. An 88 for Dan Burkett. Puts him into number 11 position. As next up, Dirk Stratton. He had an 81 on his first run. The Lingenfelter Performance Achilles Tires Stratton Chevrolet #DriftVet. And the bragging right for him is he is 15 points just behind the driver right in front of him in the standings, Matt Van Kirk, and both those guys are going for Rookie of the Year, alongside that of Kazuya Taguchi. But mathematically, you know, they definitely could pick it up. Taguchi with a good score. We'll see how they land when the dust settles tomorrow night. But Dirk Stratton out of the gate. All eyes are on the dagger. Dirk Stratton cuts like a knife. Seeming a little more comfortable here. You can see him just hammering down, a quick little lift. And now into that second outer zone. The number 33 Stratton Chevrolet Lingenfelter Performance Corvette comes across the finish line. Ryan does that better in 81. Man, still some more Achilles tires burning up there. He's feeling the flow. He's feeling the vibe. So you can see Stratton throws it in. You see him working his way up top, keeps it off the wall. Almost gets up all the way up there, tapping it. Quick little flick past the front clip. Front wheels locked and loaded. Looks like maybe a little exchange of paint there on the wall. Knocks out that Black Magic intense front clip, inside clip, and zeroes in. So here's another shot of that inner bank. Like I said, look at those front wheels. Just good commitment there from Dirk Stratton. The Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard, an 81 on his first run for Stratton. And the score on the second run, a 90, a 9-0. So Dirk Stratton, considerable jump up for Dirk Stratton. That is a 9-0, a 90 for Dirk Stratton. Well played from the Dagger, Dirk Stratton. Next up, Matt Van Kirk, the Linda Coin, Closet Creations S13. Again, Linda Coin, a new sponsor he picked up, a cryptocurrency. Popeye Energy. The Achilles tires on the corners, surrounding some Koenig wheels. So there's our Fast Orange leaderboard. You can see Visick and Dean. Visick actually sits higher as it stands right now because it defaults to the next equalizer is style, and Visick had a higher style score. But it's really going to come down to the second run. So all those top 5 drivers right there, if it ended right now, we wouldn't see them till tomorrow, a top 16. That's crazy. It's just, you know, unfortunate that some drivers unable to put scores down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when that is the case, and sometimes it's mechanical and sometimes it's other things. But for the top 5 guys, this will give them a clear opportunity to end the championship season on a high note by starting off in the top 16.
All right, so Matt Van Kirk. Looks like we are replacing the Black Magic Intense clip. All right. Just a little track cleanup there. Thank you for your patience. And we are getting word that we could send them. All right. Johnny Chimpo, how we doing, man? Thanks for watching as Matt Van Kirk throws it in. Good angle from him. Now approaching that front clip transitions in that Linda Coin. Closet Creations S13 now into that second outer zone. Van Kirk had a 75 on his first run. Really well executed around that inside clip and across the finish line. So Ryan, is that better than a 75?
I think it is, and Van Kirk looked a lot more consistent this time around. You know, the first few runs of the top 32, the bar is being set, and I think Van Kirk did enough here. You can see he's on this mid-high line, looks pretty good here. Got a good angle in the car, little side adjustment there. Now coming down off the bank, he stays on the throttle through that inside clip, lifts in the right place and gets back on the throttle into this second outside zone. It's not as deep as you can be, but he's a lot deeper than some of the other drivers. And then through that inside clip, he gets right out to that final outside zone and makes it look pretty clean. And here it is from above. You get a good understanding of how he's navigating through this course. Staying a few points on the Kirk.
Domingo, Dominican Republic, Jadot Metal Dom, Nexon Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. Running that TRD Special Edition 86 lip. All of the 86s are that are on the Toyota Racing fam, including that of Ryan Turp. But right now, Jonathan Castro, he's trying to better that 87 that he had on his first run. And Castro into that second outer zone, tight to the inside clip, and whips it across the finish line. So Ryan at 87 was his first run. You can see a little bit of rubbing there on his door from practice earlier.
Well, Castro here, run number 2. Looking to slot himself into one of those top spots if he can. Mid-high line moving up the bank, little wall tap there, but no effect to the vehicle. And then right there, he makes a pretty critical mistake that didn't get himself, that he was able to fix, but it was very noticeable as he transitioned off the bank into inside clip 1. And then through that final inside clip and pushing out wide. So not for that, if it weren't for that one little mistake right there, you can actually see it from above. His car kind of shimmies there. It would have been a lot more fluid and dynamic in that particular area, and the judges may penalize that pretty hard depending on if he did go opposite drift.
Castro, and there we go. So Ryan, an incomplete run there. Lantain, throw your headset on. Where was the standout mistake in your judge's eyes?
It was the big wiggle there at inner clip 1 where he straightened and the car actually kind of did a shimmy, and unfortunately that'll have to be an incomplete.
All right, so an incomplete run there for Jonathan Castro, but he still has an 87 on his first run, so he will make head-to-head. Next up, Jeff Jones, 84. It was a great year in the Doc Falcon Tires Nissan 370Z. And Jeff Jones, that supercharged, Edelbrock supercharged V8. The CPR engines into the front clip. Now into the second outer zone. He is hammering down. Well done there by Jones. The gold wheel spinning. Yeah, Jones puts it right on that first hash mark on the inside clip, gaining some applause. Falcon tire smoke. And here's Jeff Jones on this replay. So there you see the smoke kicked up about 7/8 on the Richter scale there, and then works his way up. Maybe a little bit more angle. He is just really fast through that inside clip. See him tap the wall, backs it off, and then around that final inside clip. And here we go, the bird's eye view. Very fast bird at that. Right there about the first hash mark. Jones with an 84 on his first run. And the scores are being collected. An 87, so he does better. That's 1 to grow on, or 3 to grow on. 3 points, that is. An 87 there for Jeff Jones. We are now entering into the top 17 drivers, sitting 17th coming into this round. Matt Kaufman, he had a 72 on his first run, and if you recall, is a little bit loose as far as line, and but still aggressive. So if you could just harness that energy, focus it, you could have a good run here. This Ford-powered S13. Oh, you see Kaufman, initiate, and then he drops down, unfortunately for him. But now works it back up. Let's see if he can salvage it. Whoa! When they start going on the other side of the yellow line, you know that's kind of like directing them towards the wall, like we saw Federico earlier. But Kaufman past the finish line. Looked a little tighter on the second half of it, but mostly on initiation. You saw him initiate and drop down on that bank. So a 72 for Kaufman in the Thunderbolt Racing Fuel Achilles tire Nissan 240SX.
Yeah, it's got to be something, I think, in the setup here for Kaufman, because it definitely does not look typical Kaufman-esque, as we mentioned in the first run. He starts off mid, he goes low, then he goes back up high, and he's just really not able to maximize the line points there. He's on that third hash mark, dangerously close to the wall there, and he has to make an adjustment. I think he did clean up the second run a little bit because he had a big mistake on the inside bank, transitioning from inside clip 1 into the inside bank. So I think this is an improvement, but you have to wonder how the vehicle setup is right now and if he's going to be able to make those adjustments going into head-to-head competition tomorrow.
All right, so Kaufman awaiting his score, a 75. So he does better just a little bit. A 75 on his second run. And next up, Michael Essa, the driftline.com, Essa Autosports Achilles tires, BMW M3. He was our first driver to enter into the 90s. He had a 93 on his first run. Again, driftline.com. One-stop shop for all your drift resources, from parts, classifieds, events. Check out driftline.com. And here comes Michael Essa. 93 on his first run. Like I said, very smooth. Look at that, just initiation. Wasn't just bam, his rate to angle was fluid. Oh, look at that. You can see him just dipping that back fender and bumper in. Now he's looking a lot snappier here on the second half of this run. Throw a little more angle at it. That back bumper just a hair off of that wall, but absolute ideal placement on that final inside clip.
I feel like
the outside.
We are back in 2013,
right.
His championship year. I mean, this is what Michael Essa looked like that season. This is a strong performance from him. You know, he's not all the way up on the wall for the duration that Peter and James are, but this is, again, one of the best runs that we've seen out of the 32 drivers. A couple little adjustments there this will still be a super high score. But I think the most important takeaway here is that Michael Essa is here to fight and looks like he is going to be incredible tomorrow in the head-to-head matchup. Looks like the car setup is on point. He is not afraid to take it into the walls, and you can see the consistency here throughout all of the course. He's really not chopping it up. He looks very smooth and just doing a great job overall.
So Michael Essa, a 93 on his first run. His second run scores being tabulated. And the score drops at 95. So Ryan, as you called it, just slightly better, but 5 points left on the table. You can see style, 3 points there, and a point in both the line and the angle. So well executed there from Michael Essa. Next up, Alec Honadell had an 86 on his first run. The Rain-X Permatex Nexen Tires Hoonigan S14. This livery, you can put it on your vehicle. You can drive this car in Forza Horizon. This livery just being debuted here at this event as Alec Honadell looks a lot more calculated. You can see poise and posture. Looks more dialed. Still very fast. This supercharged V8. No rain sticking to this car. Both Rain-X and the speed he is hitting right now. You can just hear a consistent, even throttle pedal feel. Oh, loops it. Oh, that was adorable. There's a little donut for you there, Ryan. I think he just drew a heart out on the track for you, buddy.
He did, yeah. That was intentional. That was awesome. Very exciting.
Very exciting.
So Alec Honadell, again, really aggressive run, and notice he starts out a certain line and he stays at a certain line. Very consistent, locked in here, great throttle, just a little bit of a lift right there, and then back on throttle through that inside clip, and then right here through the decel area, he gets in it, stays on throttle. He's got great angle here, and he's on that consistent line. You notice that those back wheels really aren't moving up or down in any position. He's just on a line being drawn very consistently. Now let's take a look as he goes into the inner bank here from above. You can see where he is relative to the wall, and as he comes off and shoots towards this inside clip, you can see just maxing out the angle, and that was perfect there. Strong run for Alec Honadell, who had a solid score of an 86 on run number 1.
All right, so Honadell, an 86 on his first run. Honadell in that Rain-X S14 awaiting the score. Remember the Black Magic Top qualifier. The number 1 qualifier receives cash, receives the hardware that is the bragging rights of number 1 qualifier. And a 93 for Alec Honadell. Jumps up considerably. Look at that good-looking young cat right there. All right, so a 93 there for Honadell. Next up, currently sitting 14th, the former champ, the Monster Energy Nitto Tire Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Supported by Ford Performance as well. This Roush Yates power, naturally aspirated Ford Mustang. You see the 3-wheel motion lifting up a little bit there. And now past that front clip, a real quick switch back there into that second outer zone. Talking about that exhaust note, even, consistent, and all the way through. Vaughn earlier in a video earlier this weekend, he talked about, you know, you have 2 options. You can either paint a spoke or put a logo on the tire. Well, they're getting so much tire roll that they actually decided to paint the spoke.
Well, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And what I really like is how Vaughn has been consistent these past 2 runs. I mean, Vaughn has acknowledged that this hasn't been the greatest season for him, but the past 2 qualifying runs have really shown a lot of confidence, and the setup being on point here. He's very, very deep into that second outer zone. The car is quick, and he looks like he is going to be a massive threat in head-to-head competition. Here he is coming through that inside clip here. A little bit of adjustment heading into that outside zone, then locks in on that line, wraps it all the way around. Super close here as Johnny passes through, and you get to see an idea of what it's like from the perspective up above there as Vaughn Gittin Jr. finishes up his second run.
A 90, so he does not better his first run, but his first run was a 92, so a 90 will be the better of the 2. We always say bird's eye view. I feel like that's like a bat's eye view. It's just going to whip around, and like a bat would kind of, hi, Batman. He would just whip around and chase down Von Gittin Jr.
I forgot to tell you, a couple people were requesting a Batman appearance.
Yeah? Yeah. We'll see if he gets a big cameo later or something. Yeah. Forrest Wang. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. The Vaptasia, Achilles Tire, NRG Innovations, S15 with a 2J under the hood. Great looking car. Let's see if we can put down a great looking run. A lot higher on the bank there for Wang than his first run. Quick little stop of those three-piece wheels. Again, styles for miles. Great looking run so far from Forrest Wang. And Wang with an 83 on his first run.
Well, we know Forrest Wang has a history of very high qualifications. #1 qualifier many times in his career. He's got some headroom here that he can work on with that 83, gets that initiation. Nice job on the big bank. You can see the line was very consistent there. Comes off at a little bit of a rough angle, but he's able to get back around, make it look pretty good, and then into that outside zone pretty early. Here's maybe the most that he could have improved on is staying deeper into that outside zone #2. He does wrap through that final inside clip and out there, so leaving a couple points on the table for that second outside zone, but up from above, you can see he's maxed out full throttle here. Just could have been a little bit deeper there, but I think he will improve on the 83.
Sitting 13th coming into this round. And Forrest Wang does better with an 89 on his second run. Much better and much deserved. Puts him into 12th qualifying position. Next up, Chelsea DeNofa. He had 86 on his first run. The BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D rounding out the duo. But actually, right before that, Ken Gushi. Thank you so much. As Ken Shiro had a 90 on his first run. He utilized his competition timeout. He was having we talked with his spotter, Ben Schwartz, a former FD competitor himself, and he said that Ken was on the line before his first run, said the car was shaking a lot, so they switched out the trans and the clutch within that competition timeout, and that gained him a 90. So he has one to grow on, but some confidence in his corner with that Gretty Performance, Falcon Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. The Great White Ghost, the OG, original Gushi. Yeah, he is putting it down. Like I said, one to grow on, the confidence in his corner. I mean, you got to think, how many times has Ken Gushi driven this track? I mean, you know, a day one competitor since 2004. He's drifted for many other competitions, including D1, as well as commercials, other things. This guy has so much experience on this track.
So much experience. He's been here his entire life, grew up around this track, and that 90 on run #1, I think that's going to go bye-bye. This is a great run #2, nice and high on the bank. Very good job by Ken maintaining good positioning through that inside clip. Gets into that outside zone early and stays deep there all the way through. You can see he does not deter from that line until he needs to shoot down to that inside clip, which he hits on that first hash mark. So the 90 on run #1, I think that is going to be the lower of the two. That was a solid run with not too many mistakes there by Ken. Here he is on board once again as we wrap through, taking a look with this GoPro Hero 7 cam on the drone right above Gushi as he crosses the finish line. Just goes a little bit wide there towards the end, maybe dropping a tire, but a good run from Ken overall.
And there it goes. The 90 went bye-bye because the 93 said hello. So there's a 93 for Ken Gushi and his Gretty Performance Toyota Racing Toyota 86. All right, so now we move on to Chelsea DeNofa. I got a little ahead of myself there as Gushi had that competition timeout on his first run. And now the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D for DeNofa. Yeah, eating up that track like he eats pizza. Hitting it. All right. Chelsea DeNofa, listen to that thing. Ready to rowdy, it says on his windshield. Massive angle there, he flicked it in. It gripped up, and now it looks like he's gonna try to massage it backwards into that wall. The final front clip. You know, Chelsea Denofa, I think he told me he eats pizza at least one time a week.
Is that bad?
I mean, it's just a lot of pizza.
Interesting.
Would you eat pizza once a week?
I mean, I don't, but I mean, I'm not going to hate on anybody that does.
I'm not hating on it.
So remember on Denofa's first run, he struggled a little bit on the big bank. This time he pretty much nails it, comes off a tiny bit early, but full throttle, fully committed. Second hash mark on that inside clip right here gets scary, but he stays in it, makes a little bit of adjustment. Then notice how he moves back into that outside zone. He had that 86, I believe, on run number 1, and I think this is going to be an improvement on that. He made it look much cleaner this time around. And going into that second outside zone, he was super close to that wall there and pulled it off really well while maintaining that aggressiveness that we all love from Chelsea Denofa.
Do you think the 86 is going bye-bye, Ryan?
Yeah.
You think it's going bye-bye? And it does, a 92. A 92 there for Chelsea Denofa. I brought up the pizza thing because his steering wheel actually has pizza on it too. It just got a custom painted wheel by PBK, our Canadian counterpart. Paints a lot of the helmets for a lot of the drivers out here.
Yeah, I think, was that in the auction? I believe it was supposed to be.
I believe. Yeah. I'm not for certain. All right, so the turn 14 distribution. Falcon tires, turbocharged LS Subaru BRZ. Daijiro Yoshihara. Yoshihara with an 85. You can see him sitting 19th on this Fast Orange Pro qualifying leaderboard. And Dai Yoshihara stepping it up, literally onto the bank. And into that second outer zone, very fluid. Very clean from Dai Yoshihara, very deep and stays long onto that outer zone. Wow, Dai Yoshihara.
Well, the past few runs are one of the things that I love about Irwindale the most, especially that it is our final event of the year, is that the drivers have really nothing to lose in pushing as hard as they possibly can. If they wreck the vehicle, there's not an event to prepare for, but they have that thin margin of doing something that we just don't really see that often. And right here, Daijiro Yoshihara, exemplary run, really making no mistakes. This is clearly going to be in the 90s here for sure, and he's going to be moving up the ladder. And as one of the nicest guys in this series, it's also great to see him lay down a run that was just an absolute beast right here. Watch as he comes down into that second outside zone. Great job by Johnny getting that entrance point, and you can just see how consistent he is with the line. Great angle there right on that first hash mark and then out to that outside zone. So incredible job by Daijiro Yoshihara.
So Dai with an 85. Ryan, I got to say, you say he's one of the nicest guys in the series. Who's the meanest guy in the series? Me. Oh, it's you? It's you? I was going to say me.
No, well, I mean, driver.
Oh, and a 97. A 97. So nice guys do finish third right now. A 97 for Dai Yoshihara. Right? Because, you know, you got to play the contrast. You got to play, no pun intended, devil's advocate.
Yes, that would be the logical negation of that, but we don't want to go there.
We just did. All right, so Odie Bakshis. I think Odie is the meanest guy. Odie is he's just so mean.
Yes, very angry temperament.
Again, did you hear my analogy? He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So it's like, it's Dr. Artemis and Mr. Odie.
Well, it looks like Odie is stepping out of the start line there. Looks like we are seeing some movement down in the spotter stand. Looks like we're going to get some messaging of what's going on with Odie. Okay.
All right, so Odie Bakshis, he has a 90 on his first run, and he's saying power steering is shot. We got some word from his spotter, and Odie says, you know what, just going to skip the second run. We're going to park it, keep it off the wall, and Ryan, that's when you don't want to crash it. Like you said, you want to leave it all on the track, but wait till tomorrow, not today.
Yeah, for sure. And Amy, his wife, is his spotter, does a tremendous job at letting him know what he needs to do there, and that was probably the most prudent thing. So good call by Odie, and he still has that incredible score of a 90, so he's good to go.
Kyle, is Amy not here? Yeah, so Amy's not here. Yeah, Ryan making claims again.
So she was here.
So Jay Brad's his spotter, right? Yeah, see, Jay Brad.
All right, Jay Brad, you did a good job.
Well, like I said, Amy, his wife, small, petite, white girl. Jay Brad, big black dude. I said, Amy, you've changed quite a bit. All right, so again, just a casual Friday. It's nice just having fun, you know, just rapping out on random stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Do you enjoy it? I see you have cookies over there. Ryan Turk in this gum out. Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nexen tires. Let's see what you got, Ryan Turk.
Yes, she was here.
Ryan Turk in this gum out. Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nexen tires. Let's see what you got, Ryan Turk. Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nexen tires. Let's see what you got, Ryan Turk. What's the 411? That's your race number. But what's the communique? As Turk, you can see a little bit of wavering there. Ryan Turk had a 96 on his first run. No risk it, no biscuit. As Turk into the second outer zone. Does that gain or meet a 96, Ryan? Does that kind of beat out a 96?
Well, I think he was maybe a touch more consistent on the first run. We've seen where those 95s and higher go, and this may be right there, but usually it's locking in, aggressive initiation, locking in right on the line, nice and high on the bank. You can see that little bit of adjustment from Turk. This is still a really solid run, but if he's going for that #1 qualification spot, a 98 is basically one of those runs that we saw from Dean and Visek where it's hard to find where you could have done it better, right? There's a point here, a point there. It's really hard to figure out where you can do it better. You can see Turk a little bit off that outside zone. So he's not going to get that #1 qualification spot, but he has 2 good runs back-to-back. It looks like the car is firing on all cylinders, and it's still a solid 93.
A 93 there for Ryan Turk. So his first run of a 96 is the better of the 2, and I believe that still has him into top 5. Who sings that song? I should have done better. I should have done better. I feel like that comes to mind right now. All right, so James Dean, Visek, Yoshihara, Turk, and Essa. Those are our top 5. So our top 5 qualifying drivers right now will be receiving a bye run. The only driver that has not run that doesn't have a score, Justin Pollock. And guess what? He's up next. Matt Field, the Wish Falcon Tires Corvette. Ooh, shut her down. Ooh. Reinitiates, and the judges make some adjustments in their head, and it looks like Matt Field, Matt, shut it down. Shut it down, buddy. I would just hate for him to reinitiate and something go absolutely south. I think right now he's just saying, what is going on here? So, quick little turning and burning of some Falcon tires, Ryan.
Yeah, so it's going to be an incomplete for Matt Field. You can see the car right about this point here. He gets off throttle. Luckily, the front end did not wash up into that big bank. We have seen that before, but Matt, a very skilled professional driver, knew what he needed to do there, stayed off throttle, and at that point he knows that the run's a throwaway, so might as well go back, see what's going on with the car, make the adjustments needed, and get back out there and defend, because he has won this event before.
So yeah, Ryan, right now we have our, again, 5 drivers. 5 drivers that either were no-show or didn't put down a score. So again, Hilbrun, Kristaps are no-shows here in the building this weekend, but Literal, Lawrence, Mohan, unfortunately have incomplete runs, but right now Justin Pollock is sitting on an incomplete run. He needs a score in order to see head-to-head competition. This Roush Performance Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. Looks like we are seeing smoke from both back tires, most definitely. Now past that front clip, Justin Pollock whips it into that outer zone. That got a little sketchy there. And that was pretty nerve-wracking for me just as an announcer. I can only imagine for his spotter and his team, but he works it out and he will get a score. So it looks like only our top 5 qualifying drivers will have bye runs, because if Justin Pollock did not get a score, it would have been top 6 qualifying drivers. But looks like JTP is going to get a score.
Yeah, every JTP fan was puckering up coming into that second outside zone, but he was able to pull it off. As you said, Jared, he is in the show. Will get a score here. We'll see where it locks in. This is still a pretty aggressive and good run overall. It's not going to be our #1 qualifying run, but it's a great way for him to end the day on a high note after that incomplete run #1 on a mechanical and get himself a good score on the board, see where he slots in.
Justin Pollock would love to finish the season top 5. I think that just shows you, with the new Mustang last year, and now he says, the car is just feeling better and better. Justin has just progressed as a driver, and it just over the years, and he's really found the sweet spot with this Mustang. So nowhere but up for his score. A 91 for Justin Pollock. Obviously beats out that incomplete, that 0 of his first run. All right, next up, Chris the Force Forsberg coming in 4th in standings into this round of competition. No way can he grab the overall championship, but he'd love to finish top 3. You need to take out some drivers, and right now he needs to take out this track. This NOS energy drink, 370Z on Nexen tires. The Force, 3-time champion. A lot higher on the bank than his first run in this turbocharged VQ. Now past the front clip into this second outer zone, the inner bank. Dragging the wall, even tapping that back bumper. And then brings it into that Black Magic, barely glances it. I mean, as far as execution right there, you couldn't get any closer without completely knocking it over there for Forsberg.
Well, he will most definitely improve on that 83. Great job, especially down on that inside bank. Gets going here nice and early, locks into a consistent line. He's pretty high up there, maybe has about a foot to go compared to some of the guys in the 96 to 98 range. But Forsberg doing a great job here, down on the inside bank, circling around here, and then locking into that line. Huge angle there from Chris. No major adjustments, consistent through that inside clip, and then pushing out to that outside zone. So no question he'll improve on the 83. Here he is coming into that outside zone on the inside bank here. Big smoke line. You can see the consistency, which means he's on throttle all the way. And then right there through that last inside clip, pushing through, is Chris Forsberg, the 3-time champion, trying to find his way into the top 3 if he can, with Peter Visek sitting in 3rd place.
95, a 95, so just outside of that top 5 spot. That would have been a sweet position for him, but it does not look like he will get one of those bye runs. He sits in 6th. You see 28-29 and just a few style points off. So a great score there for Forsberg. Again, another Formula Drift veteran, been around here since 04. That of Daijiro Yoshihara, Ken Gushi, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and Chris Forsberg. Those are our drivers that have been drifting here since 2004, as well as even Kyle Mohan. But again, we're talking from Long Beach, from front to back, every single round of the Formula Drift Championship. All right, so here we go. Moving on to Peter Visek, who had a 98 and has a 98. How is he going to back that up as Visek taps the wall, stays in a massive angle here? Look at Visek. Holy business. Look at the Candyman is on fire. Gets to the edge of the track. You see that yellow line now. He is just possessed right now. Peter Visek, the Polish hammer, across the finish line. Wow. Ryan, he not only did he like stay in it, he threw more angle at it. He's like, he wants some more. There's plenty more where that came from. This time put some stank on it.
These two Wurthout drivers have definitely changed the game in the same way that we saw Daigo Saito change the game, and everybody has had to step up, and you can see why. This is unbelievable here, staying in there. He's going to get some deductions for it, but it's a very aggressive move by Peter, and he does seem to do that. It looked like he lost something pretty substantial on the vehicle through that first inside clip. We'll have to take a look at what that was, but the rest of the course is phenomenal. It's still going to be a really high score, even with the wall tap. And Peter and James are just having another great season
here. It's like a tail light. He lost a tail light.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, did you see it at the bottom of the screen? So it must have come loose on the contact and then flipped off during the transition. So here he is on that inside bank again, and you get to just see full bore Peter Visek finishing up his run with another solid one here.
That was crazy, man. Absolutely. A 98 is not bettered by a 92 on his second run, but still sensational. And that's just telling me that he is going for it. He wants to win back-to-back here at Irwindale. He won here last year, and again, the Polish hammer hits hard.
Do you like Peter, his hair now, or Peter perm?
I mean, he always has this, right? I like it a little mellower.
A little more
mellower, yeah. A little, yeah, throwing a shaka a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I like the mellower.
So this is actually kind of a big deal here because Osbo is the one that really needs that bye. And right now it's Visek and Dean that have it. And if Osbo wants to get into that top 5, he's going to have to knock out Essa, who has a 95. Now, Osbo is certainly capable of that. He had a 98 in his qualifying run at Road Atlanta, so he has the tie for the high of the season. But this is his last opportunity.
Well, Frederick Osbo throws it in. He has a 94. As you said, Ryan, Frederick Osbo would ideally like to get a bye run to run parallel into the top 16. Not parallel with them as far as head-to-head, but right now Osbo goes into that second outer zone. Tries to keep proximity to the wall. You can see him working it out, just massaging it back. easing it on in, really tight to that final inside clip and crosses the finish line. So James Dean is guaranteed that advancement into the top 16, a bye run. But right now, where does Osbo land? Is he going to have to fight to get into the 16, or is he just going to get a fast pass?
I think this could do it for him score-wise, but I think what might happen is the comparison to the second run. Right, if he falls on one of the other guys' runs, what score did they have on their second run? And that may be the ultimate thing that swings it in one direction or the other. But there's no major flaws here from Osbo. He maybe could have been a tiny bit deeper in the big bank, but very, very maybe a small amount. But on the inside bank here, he sticks on a line that is super close to the wall, stays on the throttle all the way, and really does a great job in execution. I think he did everything that he needed to in that position there to try to give himself a shot to get a bye. And now it's just up to the judges and also the comparison to the second run.
All right, so Osbo scored 96, a 96 as Osbo jumps up. So a 94 and then betters it with a 96, puts him into 4th position. So there's that bye run. So James Dean, Frederick Osbo are 2 points leaders, as well as Peter Visick. They're going to get a bye run as we look at the Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard. So Visick, Dean, Yoshihara, Osbo, Turk, top 5 qualifiers unofficially will have the bye run into top 16. Where is James Dean going to land, though? Here it is, a 98. He's guaranteed at minimum number 2 qualifier, but he's got to do better than a 92 of Peter Visick to get that number 1 Black Magic top qualifier award. So James Dean doesn't bounce off the wall, but he keeps it tight. And now into that second outer zone. There he goes, pushing it back, easing it on in. James the Machine Dean crosses the finish line. Is that perfect? And basically, in order to get the number 1 qualifying position, he needs a 93 or better, beating out Peter Visick.
Well, I think if I had to guess, this is going to be probably enough here to get him that top spot, just because of what we've seen and just comparing that in my mind to the other drivers. Great job on the bank, on throttle where he needs to be. There he goes in that decel area, but he's back on. Huge angle from Dean, and right there, just like Osbo, he's right on that white painted line towards the end, tight on that inside clip, pushing out wide there. I mean, really, it's hard to know what he did wrong there. And you have to imagine that's going to be another high score, given the way the judges have been scoring this qualifying session, that this is probably going to be enough for James to move into that number 1 spot. And what that does for him points-wise is it gives him a few extra points above those other qualifiers.
That's right. It really does. So let's go to the judges. Is it better? Is it a 93 or better to get that number 1 Black Magic Top Qualifier award as all the vehicles scurry out? Remember and a 99, a 98, and then a 99. Ryan screaming like a Mexican soccer announcer up here. Goal! Just a near perfect run, a 98, then backed it up with a 99. He is your Black Magic Top Qualifier Award winner, James Dean, the Machine. Not only fighting for a win, but the championship against the Norwegian Hammer, Frederick Osbo. Don't go anywhere. The Gum Out GT4586 is going to hit Irwindale Speedway, and the webcast times here. Join us back here, local time, looking at the clock. It's 10 till 3, 6:15. So in about 3 hours and 15 minutes, Pro 2 competition. So again, Pro 2 competition going down here tonight, and we'll begin at 7 o'clock. 6:30 is when the opening ceremony begins. You can see tomorrow all the action, but tonight come back for Pro 2. Who's going to get the overall win? Remember, Travis Reeder did not qualify yesterday. Dylan Hughes is 40 points out. He basically needs to advance on into the Grade 8 to get the 2018 Pro 2 Championship. The plot thickens not only in Pro, but again tonight under the lights here at the House of Drift. The O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight presented by Rain-X. On behalf of Ryan Sage and our whole team here, we'll see you back here in just about 3 hours for Pro 2 action. Round 8 of 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship.
Trying to not let him get away. Snappy initiation there by Gittin. But look at Wang falling behind now and now having to cut the line. Vaughn King Jr., the professional front hammer.
Growing up, my parents, I didn't get things given to me. I had an allotment of $30 for the tennis shoes that I wanted every year for school, and if I wanted better shoes, I had to get the money to afford them and put them on my feet. And that mindset of always working for what you want, that was instilled in me by